As our parents get older, we've got this dilemma. Are we going to be the main caregivers, or are we going to actually find ourselves making that unpopular decision of an old age home? Is it abandonment, or is it just adapting to the situation? It's a tough one.
Yeah, tough one, and good conversations to have. Join us on our social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook, where we are streaming live, and Channel Africa 1 on all our other platforms. We are also streaming on YouTube. Channel Africa first with the African story globally. Welcome to On The Move.
All right, let's go. We're going to be speaking to Vian Lucas, who's a social worker, and we'll be unpacking this one. Should we actually send our parents to an old age home? Is it abandonment, or is it adapting to the situation? We'll find out after the break.
The rhythm of Africa, the pulse of the continent. This is Channel Africa, the African perspective.
The whole population of Africa has been shocked to the
Greatness Republic. DJ Neptune, hit me.
Oroma, Cinderella from Puerto Rico. You carry go be fine face like Cabino. And as I see your ways, baby, I swear I say Ale, Aje, you're more than now. You must go come my girl, you sweet like gelato. Oh, and you know, see your face today, I feel like to see you tomorrow. And if you drop my gelato, oh, you gon' know. Baby, come my place tonight, no go do me, Ojoro, Isabella. Joma Pamina, I don't call Uber, but I be carry Okada. Mayania, no like Wahala. No one talk Rika, but she want Gucci designer. Isabella. Joma Pamina. She want Gucci designer. Gucci designer. Enter my motor, make I dance a willow. With your back way soft like pillow. Fire down like Ronaldinho. Ju, touch my body, Ogulugu. I dey your dog, Kuku. Angelina, Ju. Girl, you sweet like gelato. Oh, and you know, see your face today, I feel like to see you tomorrow.
All right, that's DJ Neptune with Kaid on that one. That's Gelato, taking us to 10 minutes past 9 o'clock Central African time.
The whole population of Africa has been shocked to the depth of its soul.
For 60 years, Channel Africa has been the voice that connects the continent, telling our stories and sharing our vision with the world. This year, we mark 6 decades of broadcast excellence.
60 years of stories, sound, and connection.
6 years of African conversations that matter.
This is 60 years of broadcast excellence.
Broadcast excellence, rooted in Africa's heartbeat and looking boldly into the future. Join Channel Africa as we celebrate 60 years of broadcasting. Still strong, still vibrant, and still giving you the African perspective.
Channel Africa.
Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
All right, let's get into our first hour conversation. In many African homes, elders are the custodians of history and the moral center of the family. Traditionally, caring for aging parents was a shared responsibility that was really rooted in a community. But in modern life, urban migration, economic pressure, smaller households are changing that. More families are really facing that difficult question: when care at home is no longer suitable, is taking a parent to an old age home a way of abandoning that parent, or is it just adapting to the situation? We unpack this with Vian Lucas, who's a social worker in the palliative care environment. Vian, welcome on the show.
Good morning, Benjamin. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, our families are getting smaller and smaller. We living in more urbanized environments. It's also a big deal, because even those who live in the rural have their parents back at home, but they're probably in the city working, and there's no one to take care of the parents back at home. So there's a lot of guilt finding in this kind of environment where you feel like you're not good enough when you send your parent to an old age home, but you also feel guilty in keeping them alone at home without the kind of care that you want them to have.
That is true, Benjamin. And I believe that is also normal to be feeling that way. But it also, on the flip side of the coin, it also goes another way as well. Leaving your parent, elderly parent, home alone also causes guilt feelings, and placing your parent in an old age home also causes the guilt feelings. So it probably goes hand in hand as well.
Vian, our parents don't get old overnight. It's not an overnight event. We are, growing as a family in different stages of our lives. Perhaps there's that first time when we leave the house and they're empty nesters, but they're still young enough to sort of take care of themselves. And then we're all sort of building and growing our lives as things go. But someday, then we realize that, oh my goodness, I didn't notice that, my mom or my dad has actually become so old. When you go and visit them, you don't notice that, oh, they actually can't do some of the things that they used to do as well as they do. So it's a very gradual realization. And when that realization happens, there usually isn't a plan for something like that, because we've all been just trying to navigate life and grow. Should we be thinking about that plan much sooner, even when our parents are still healthy enough to take care of themselves?
That is a very good question, Palesa. And yes, we should be doing future planning, because the decision to place an elderly parent in institutional care is really impulsive, like you just said. So it usually comes after the family has already tried to care for them at home. Or in this case, like you've also mentioned, in the instance where a family member is not able to take care of the patient, or the elderly, because their needs, it's like you said, it also changes over time with their age as well. So yes, definitely, we should be looking into future planning. However, there's no one size fits all. So it differs from family to family, and it also depends on your finances ultimately as well, whether you are in the financial position to afford institutional care or not. But I also know that we do have options that families could look into, like institutions that are more subsidized, that allow you to perhaps pay your mom or dad's fee with the social grant, older person's grant, which they receive from SASSA on a monthly basis.
It's complicated, and I love the fact that you say it's not just one way to do it. There's so many things to consider when doing this. And one of the tricky parts is that whose choice is it? Is it the child's choice to take the parent to an old age home, or is it the parent's choice to agree to it?
That is a very good question, Benjamin. So decision making is always difficult for the children. So what I've observed in practice now is that often what families or what children actually do is, they don't take a decision alone, but they take a decision along with their aunts, their uncles, their moms, siblings, perhaps. So they take a collective decision when it comes to decision making, and also the decision. It's often very difficult to make as well. So most of the time, I've also noticed that our families rely a lot on their faith as well to actually help them make the right decision in terms of the care of the elderly parent. And then also, oftentimes it's against their will or their wishes, the elderly person's wishes. So it's never in favor of what they want, because the elderly person, I think in their minds, or with any human being, it's like you think of everything that you might lose. So I've been living in this house for 50 years now, and I am bound to lose this now because they're going to sell my house now. I'm going to lose my friends. I'm going to lose the familiar surrounding environment, which I know, which I am familiar with. So it's all of those losses that this older person also considers. However, the family members also do consider that. But in that moment, the elderly does not necessarily think of what's best for her or him in that very moment. And I think that's where the family comes in. At that stage, they think more of what's best for my mom or dad at this stage in their lives.
You know, Vian, there's an added layer to this conversation that unfortunately is, I guess, a societal and cultural layer to it. Because most of the times we've seen taking your parents out of their home to an old age home almost as un-African. It's not something we do. We don't throw away our parents. And I guess the reputation that old age homes have had in the African perspective is that it's a place to throw your parents away instead of caring for them and loving them as they have loved you through all your years growing up.
No, that is true, Palesa. But I think what we also need to think of always is that these institutions, the old age homes, function on subsidies, firstly. And then also, if you consider an institution and the institution is perhaps 2,400 Rand per month, you need to now consider in today's economy, what can this institution really offer me? Because that institution has electricity and lights to pay, electricity and water to pay. They have their care to pay, and then so I think we should always weigh that. Although I've seen in practice that these institutions really, really try their best to come by with what they have. Within the means that they have. So they solely rely on donors, sponsors. So they solely rely on the community to sustain them at the end of the day.
All right, Vian, this is a very interesting conversation. I would like us to track back when we come back from the break. I mean, what are the indications that maybe this is a decision you must consider? Because at times, you're choosing this outside of your parents' will. Maybe they're physically able. Maybe they still want to enjoy their home. How do you find the right indicators to say, you know what, this is time, this is the moment to do it? And, there's so many reasons for doing so. We'll unpack them after the break. Today, we're speaking about taking your parents to an old age home. Is it abandonment? Is it a sense of care? How do you see it? Let us know on our WhatsApp number. Let's take a break. We'll be back.
The safety and well-being of learners is a shared social responsibility. Parents and guardians play a critical role in ensuring safe, reliable, and lawful scholar transport. Parents are therefore urged to take responsibility for the following. Parents should ensure that learners are on time and ready for collection to prevent unsafe driving practices such as rushing, unscheduled stops, or overloading. By working together, parents, operators, and authorities can protect learners and build a culture of safety on our roads. Issued by the National Department of Transport.
Keep Africa in your hands. Connect to our website for all your news, sports, and cultural updates. channelafrica.co.za.
Yeah, our parents are not going to stay young forever, and there comes a time when we have to think about how exactly we can take care of them in their older years. And we're having this conversation with registered social worker Vian van Heerden, who's continuing this one with us. Vian, let's speak about when that decision-making time arises. It has so many layers because it's not just a practical decision to make about, okay, what's going to happen to, this elderly person and where they're going to live, who's going to take care of them. But it's also a very emotional decision because it's not a nice thing to see your parent in a state that they haven't been in their entire lives. So how do we navigate both the practical side of this decision and the emotional side of the decision?
It is, like you say, it goes both ways. It's an emotional decision, but somehow it's also a decision that you need to make. So, first of all, what I always tell the children or the family, oftentimes, I often tell them to acknowledge, my mom and dad's need has changed, and therefore it calls for us to make a decision. So the first step is to acknowledge that there is a need to make a decision. So that actually helps you to deal with your feelings more better, because then it's not as in you just sending your mom off to an old age home and it's because you're lazy or you don't want to be with your mom or whatever, because there's no such reason at the end of the day. So it's oftentimes, children and families often consider this option when they can really see their parent really needs 24-hour supervision, and they themselves are not available, like you said in the beginning, due to work obligations that they can't take care of them. And then also safety also becomes a huge concern. Safety in the instance of when you grow old, you are more fragile or to falls, and also your medication management is not like it used to be 10 or 20 years ago. And also there's a cognitive decline in older persons as well. And what I've also noticed lately was that, say now a family member takes care of an elderly person, it tends to worn them out. So caregiver fatigue is very real amongst our families as well, because many families really become very physically and emotionally exhausted, and therefore placement might be considered in such instances as well. But the decision, yes, it does remain difficult. However, it's never been about convenience. It's always been about the safety and also the sustainability of that person.
Yeah.
So I just want to mention that, I think our families are more and more realizing that care and love and is not necessarily, cannot or does not necessarily just take place in the homes. It oftentimes also takes place in institutional care as well.
I like the fact that you raised when not to do it, right? When shouldn't you force your parent to go to an old age home? Because at times you can just do it for your own convenience, so you don't have to worry. So, okay, mom or dad is there. I don't have to think about it. They're fine.
Benjamin, I think that barely or rarely happens.
Okay.
Because I think I've often met a lot of children and families who often just consider what a facility might be able to offer their mom or dad compared to what they are not able to offer them.
Okay, sure.
Yes.
All right, but I still want you to answer that question honestly, because there is that possibility that it could happen for the wrong reason.
Yes, that is true. So oftentimes it does happen against the will of the older person. But also, Benjamin, one must take so many things into consideration with aging. Nah? They cognitively decline. Nah? And then also the other thing is also illnesses such as dementia is also present. So one must always weigh, okay, is my mom or dad taking the best decision for him or her at this very moment or not? Or is it just on an emotional decision based on what I might lose if I do leave my home? Yeah.
Okay, I hear you, but you're still not answering my question. My question is, when shouldn't you take your parent to an old age home? For that few percentage of people who might be doing it for the wrong reasons.
Okay. I think that decision you should not be taking if you do know of a caregiver that might be able to offer their services within your mom or dad's home. That 24-hour supervision, and also the monitoring of medication, and also ensuring that your mommy is safe and her needs are taken care of. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So when a decision has been made, I mean, I know there's a number of decisions that we were looked at. There's that decision to, let them be in their home and bring a caregiver, take them to an old age home. But the third decision would be living with your parents in your home. That can cause quite a bit of issues, but it can sometimes be the best decision. Is that something that we should always try and consider?
We could consider that as well, Palisa. It's also one of the options. However, it's not always the best. But also on the flip side of things, it's also very valuable because mommy or daddy gets to spend a lot of time with your children and your family, which is valuable because time is something you can't get back.
That's true.
That's also interesting because when you do make that decision to take your parent to an old age home, while they're there at that old age home, what are your responsibilities as a child when they're there? How often do you visit? How often do you check in? What would you advise as children to do in that circumstance?
So oftentimes, Benjamin, your responsibility is to make sure that the bill is paid. But what I always encourage children and families when I meet them as well is to really come and visit their parents on a regular basis if they get the time to. And also, if you can't physically visit your parent, send them a text, give them a call. At this age and stage in their lives, it's just so that type of connection between parents and children and extended family is so valuable to them. So that's actually all that matters to them at this point in time of their life.
Well, it's obviously a very complicated decision to make, and there's a lot of considerations to make, obviously case by case, because like you said, there is no one size fits all. We all come from very different communities, families and backgrounds, and we have to make decisions that fit that particular lifestyle. We'll leave it there though. Thank you so much for your time, Vian. It is a hard decision to make. Where can we go and find you, especially for those who need more professional advice on matters like these?
Palesa, thank you very much for the opportunity once again. So I can give you my email address for any listeners that need some assistance, and I would be able to refer them to the correct resources or people.
Yes, please.
Yeah. My email address is vian70@gmail.com.
Thank you so much, Vian. It was a pleasure to speak to you this morning. That is registered social worker Vian van Heerden, speaking about the decisions we have to make with our elderly parents. Where do they go? Is it home? Is it a caregiver, an old age home, bringing them to live with you? Let us know what your thoughts are. WhatsApp line is +2783 288 6684. It's 9:30 Central Africa time. We need to get our latest news update with Figile Lingwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
We kick off with football news. The Mamelodi Sundowns will host the Stade Malien in the first leg of the African Champions League's quarterfinal at Loftus Versfeld next Friday, with kickoff set for 8 p.m. Central African time. The return leg follows in Bamako on the 22nd of March at the Stade 26 Mars. Sundowns, the last South African team left in continental competition, face a Malian side enjoying a breakthrough season after topping Group D and stunning Esperance. The Pretoria club will postpone 2 premiership fixtures to accommodate the tie, while other quarterfinal first legs see Morocco's Royal Armed Forces face holders Pyramids, Renaissance Berkane, meet Al Hilal, and Esperance clash with Al Ahly. Boxing news, IBO world champion Ricardo Malajika has withdrawn from an eagerly anticipated rematch with Siko Ngotole for the IBF number 1 contender slot. According to a press release issued by No Doubt Management, former WBC flyweight champion from UK, Charlie Edwards, will replace Malajika in the battle for a title shot. There was talk that the fight between Malajika and Ngotole would happen after the IBF's order and subsequent truce between promoters Colin Nathan and Rodney Berman, but nothing is guaranteed in boxing. The South African public may have to wait a lot longer to witness the rematch, but in the meantime, Sequence will fancy his chances against Charlie Edwards. There is still unbeaten and South African men's cricket views their T20 World Cup semi-final clash against New Zealand in Kolkata today as a fresh start. The Proteas have already beaten the Kiwis at this year's tournament by 7 wickets in the group stage in Ahmedabad. But Captain Aiden Markram says today's do-or-die clash is a whole other ball game. They comprehensively beat the Kiwis by 7 wickets in Ahmedabad and eventually topped the group in the group stages. 3 more wins over defending champions India, the West Indies and Zimbabwe then followed in the Super 8s. But Markram says all that counts for nothing when they will meet New Zealand in a knockout match at Eden Gardens.
Quality team, New Zealand. They've proved that over many years now, and we had a good run out against them in the group stages. But both teams have played a lot of cricket since then, and it's a completely fresh start, and it being a semi-final, which is exciting as well. So I don't think it's as straightforward as just being able to repeat that again. A lot of variables in this game, but the boys are very excited for the opportunity to play in a semi-final against a good team like New Zealand, and we'll try to bring our best game to the front again.
Markram insisted, though, that his team does not read too much into being called the tournament favourites. He says they'd rather want to put together a good, smart game of cricket and make good decisions under pressure.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what conditions would be like. Obviously, we kept a close eye on the India versus West Indies game that was here to get a bit of an indication. Quickly now walked out to the wicket. It looks pretty good again. So I think it's the darker soil. So we'll just have to not wing it, but.
And finally, rugby news. Dave Rennie has been named as the replacement for Scott Robertson as coach of the All Blacks and charged with taking New Zealand to a 4th World Cup triumph in Australia in 2027. The 62-year-old former Wallabies coach beat out Jamie Joseph for one of the biggest jobs in world rugby after an extensive recruitment process that started when Robertson made the surprise decision to step down halfway through his contract in mid-January. Rennie, the first All Blacks coach with Pacific Islander heritage, was handed a contract through to the end of 2027 World Cup, but will honour his commitment to Japan's Kobe Steelers before preparing New Zealand for the July tests. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Fikile Ngwadi.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Africa is changing and the world is paying attention. This March, Channel Africa invites you to be part of a new conversation. Africa Matters. A platform where experts, policymakers, and thought leaders come together to unpack the big issues of our time. Technology, politics, economics, climate change, and the future of our people. This is where ideas meet action, where change becomes opportunity, where Africa's voice takes its rightful place on the global stage. In March 2026, Channel Africa hosts Africa Climate Change Recovery Summit. Join the dialogue. Be part of the movement. Channel Africa, the African perspective. As Africa renews, so does its voices. 60 years of Channel Africa.
All right, thank you so much, Figile. Let's move on right now and get our latest business.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Good morning. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa says that there are tangible signs that the Presidential eThekwini Working Group has addressed some service delivery issues in the metropolitan municipality in KwaZulu-Natal province. The group has brought together different spheres of government as well as business and organised labour to tackle the problems in Durban. Ramaphosa says that the group must focus on encouraging investment and economic growth. He attended a meeting with officials as well as representatives of business and labour in Durban yesterday.
We will seek to identify areas where barriers impede the growth of your businesses. But in this regard, we need cooperation. We need you to point out those areas where there are barriers, where there are impediments, where there are silly rules that we have set up that make the success of your businesses difficult.
Meanwhile, Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Minister Velengosini Hlabisa explains what should be done to encourage investment.
We will support the city and line departments in focusing the next tranche of effort where it matters most. For instance, accelerating water and sanitation upgrades and reducing non-revenue water.
Nigerian President Bola Tinubu has nominated Taiwo Oyedele as Minister of State for Finance after he led a team to overhaul Nigeria's tax system. Oyedele, previously chair of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, replaces Doris Udoka Anite, who will be reassigned to the Ministry of Budget and National Planning. In the year 2023, Oyedele said the tax reform was aimed at reducing the number of taxes levied by federal and state governments from more than 60 to fewer than 10. Part of changes to make it easier to conduct business and to boost revenue. Ivory Coast has given assurances that it will continue a program to buy a residual stock of 100,000 metric tons of cocoa at the guaranteed price. Farmers had voiced concern in recent days that the stock buying program, launched in late January to clear unsold beans and provide cash to farmers after a slump in global cocoa prices, could be halted as the mid-crop harvest gets underway earlier than usual. Around 23,000 tons have been purchased since the start of the operation, and this is according to data provided by the Agricultural Interprofessional Organization for Cocoa. Oil and gas prices continue to rise as the Middle East conflict intensifies. The price for a barrel of crude oil hit $85, while the price of gas has also surged since Friday. Iran has blocked the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow strip between the Gulf and the Indian Ocean, through which about a fifth of global oil and gas is transported. The BBC's Danny Aberhard has the details.
The war is causing headaches for many countries dependent on energy imports from the Gulf, including powers like China, Japan and India. The price of the benchmark Brent crude has hit levels not seen since July 2024. Analysts have warned it could breach $100 a barrel. It's alarming, though such a figure would still be below those seen soon after Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine.
$1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,000 naira 373. In Botswana, it's at 13.17. Kenya, 128 shilling 241. And Zambia, 19 kwacha 140. The BRICS countries in Brazil, the dollar will cost you 5.22. Russia, 77 rubles 509. India, 91 rupees 95. China, 61.90. And in South Africa, the dollar will cost you 16 rand 34 cents. 74 pence to the British pound and 85 to the euro. Gold is trading at $5,163 and $2,128 per ounce. Brent crude oil is at $82.40 a barrel. For any business stories you would like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business in Johannesburg, I'm Thabiso Lohoko.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Africa. It's time to plug into the heartbeat of the continent. Tune in to Channel Africa, your go-to radio station that broadcasts in 5 different languages.
L'Afrique du Sud célèbre la journée nationale du
Kabla hujaitwa kwa jina la Double K
or more of our forests have been destroyed.
Tamo Partido Africano da Independência da Guiné.
See, Channel Africa represents every corner of this amazing land. From Lagos to Cape Town, Nairobi to Dakar, we've got you covered with the freshest news, music, and cultures. So, turn up the volume, feel the rhythm. And Join the conversation. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Be inspired. Stay informed. Channel Africa, the beauty of life. Now available anytime, anywhere with our new app.
Father set me free from the shackles of my haters. Spent 200K on the watch, not for flex, motivation and purpose. He set the table before me to showcase all my blessings. I did guidance for the trot back at the scheme, I did plot. And now it's pushed to start. Back to back, I did make them mad. And there's no denial, nobody had that. The way I did me, I did on top. Private room for Louis Vuitton. 5-star, no be nickname, give me the money. Over the fame, over the fame. See what we done. No be one paper, we they live this life. If you bring bad vibes, I go exit chat to you alive. See what we done. No be talk, we they show working evidence they come. Till eternity. Till eternity. Set me free from the shackles of my haters. 9 million the house, no be flex, motivation and purpose. I for do master cause baby I'm in different house, different location. So sick than patience. Yes, I took a bus. See I'm back now, the things on top. I no deny, nobody had that. When me day, me a day on top. Private room every time we shop. Easy no be nickname, give me the money. Over the fame, over the fame. See what we done. No be one paper, we they live this life. If you bring bad vibes, I go exit chat to you alive. See what we done. No be talk, we they show working evidence they go. Till eternity. Till eternity.
All right, that's King Promise with Mr. Easy. See what you've done, taking us to 44 minutes past 9 o'clock Central African time. This is Channel Africa. I don't know, man. Do you think we're a little bit superficial in that conversation? I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, Bala. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I think people like you and me are not ready for our parents to get old.
Nobody's ever ready for their parents to get old, I think.
I know.
But we know it's going to happen. I'll speak for myself and say I've had a conversation with my mother about what happens when she gets older. And I think that's a part that we've missed for a very long time. I think through generations is the actual conversation happening before the need arises for that decision to happen. And we're not having enough of those conversations. And I can also be honest to say, I do feel like this is an isolated incident and it doesn't happen often enough, right? So I, in particular, know what I would want to do. I think I know what my mom would like for herself.
Do your sisters, are they on the same page?
You know, that's the thing also. There need to be more conversations there as well in the siblings, essentially.
Sure.
But we're also removing like the Africanness from it because there is still a lot of shame for us Black people and African people when it comes to not being able to be there and take care of your parents in their old age. And because I will say the words throwing them away at the old age home, because that is, I think, the reputation that old age homes have in that context.
I want to go back a little bit, because I want to go back to this idea that we are not ready for our parents to get old. Tell you why. My dad passed away. I always talk about this. I'm very open about it. My dad was so independent until the last day I saw him. So, Dad, how you doing? I'm great, son. Everything is going well.
Yeah.
Very kind of upbeat, very kind of very like lovely to be around.
Yeah.
Great guy. And until he got really sick, and then there were like just these questions.
Now?
No one could answer them.
Yeah.
He couldn't answer them because he had a very hectic stroke. And what happened there was that he couldn't communicate back at us. He couldn't write. There was just no way to get this.
To know what his thoughts and feelings are.
Were. Because Dad was always a cool, independent dad, right? He was always preserving, able to do stuff for himself until the last day, not last day, but until the last day before the stroke, right? In fact, when he got his stroke, he was outside doing something for himself, like just doing a little bit of gardening, right? So the thing is, when we have those conversations, even with our parents, when we are ready, like you are ready to have that conversation, is your parent also ready? Because you'll get that first response, king about Lompolaya or king about Lotaka, or there's always kind of that like, what am I dying already? From them, because they're also
scared of that moment. I think.
They're also processing that.
There's a lot of fear, I think, from all ends when it comes to a conversation like this, because nobody wants to get old and unable to do things for themselves. Especially, a lot of African parents, are just like your dad, very independent, very, and especially to our children. We don't want our children seeing us as weak because we see ourselves as the ones that raise them, the ones that remain strong for them. And then when the tables have to turn at some point, that's why it's so uncomfortable to have that conversation, and we don't actually have it until we find ourselves in the position when a decision like that has to be made.
I have to give my dad a lot of credit because he had like his medical facilities available for us to actually draw financial support to take care of him while he was ill for that month that he was ill. So I appreciate that from him, that he was sorted out in terms of that. But I wish we spoke more. I wish I understood more what was happening in the background, and I wasn't reliant on my childhood memories of how my dad.
How they would have thought, or how they would have reacted.
just how strong he is, So I just wish I should have just dug in deeper and just dug him a little bit more, because he was a typical African man saying, "I've got this, I can do it." What's your take on this one? Taking our parents to
old age home.
I don't even want to say it. It's very hard to say.
Or do you take care of them in your house? That opens up for another conversation of living with your parents
and your partners,
and your partner,
your children. All right, let us know on our WhatsApp number +27 83 288 6684. Do you think taking your parent to an old age home is abandonment, or do you think it's adaptation? We'd like to hear from you.
Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine, weekdays 6 till 9.
In Zimbabwe, traditional leaders are at the forefront of restoring their Miombo woodlands, crucial for rural livelihoods and biodiversity. FAO of the Food and Agricultural Organization has trained chiefs, headmen, and village heads in sustainable forest management, community accountability, and protection from sexual exploitation and abuse.
Traditional leaders are really central because they are the custodians of land and natural resources in rural communities. So in districts like Muzi and Rushinga in Zimbabwe, they really influence how forests are used and protected. So by empowering them, we strengthen local ownership, we improve compliance with sustainable practices, and ensure that Miombo restoration efforts are really community-driven and long-lasting, which is important.
Renee Chudek, FAO Senior Forestry Officer for Southern Africa.
Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine. No time to waste. Be on the move with Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa.
One day I used to call my mama to tell her that I'm falling low. what she said, my mama. It's too early for you to fall in love. Mama, don't you worry. She's my glory, my one and only. Yeah, yeah. Mama, don't you worry. She's my glory, my one and only. Yeah, yeah. Baby, this love not for me. Maybe this love not for me. I'm single. Do you know that I'm single? I'm single again. Who knows I'm single? Oh yes, I'm single. Ladies, I'm single again. I'm single. Who knows I'm single? What me mean, nani. It's so hard to say bye-bye, cause my dream was to love you till I die, and I know I'm gonna miss you so bad, especially when I'm too sober. It's okay, mama, I'm gonna be okay, mama. Such a shame, mama, you thought it was games, mama. Ooh. Maybe this love not for me. Maybe this love not for me. I'm single. Do you know that I'm single? I'm single again. Who knows I'm single? Oh yes, I'm single. Ladies, I'm single again.
It's a post-Valentine anthem.
I'm single again, right? Harmonize. It's a different month this month. People have lost their boyfriends and girlfriends.
The romance is over.
I think it's all about having funders in February, right? It's not necessarily real relationships.
Because, we want flowers and dates and nice gifts. And then in March, we are single again.
Absolutely. All right. It's 54 minutes past 9 o'clock Central African time. You're listening to On the Move with myself, Benjamin Moshatama, and the beautiful Palesa. Look, we've been speaking about the dynamic of having African families and elders, and thinking about when you have to now get a negotiation between even your siblings to take your mother or father
and
to
remember,
an old age home.
We're African. The negotiation isn't just about the siblings either. Sometimes it involves uncles and aunts.
Yes.
Who, like extended family, also have a say in this decision-making process.
Because it means that, people are going to be on some tip like, so when are we going to see our mother? When are we going to see Mama Holu? When are we going to see Koko? And the thing is, now you have to say, you guys have to go to that old age home to have access to them. And then the debate is going to come. But then it means we're not going to have any brides at Granny's house anymore. We're no longer going to have family gatherings with her. I can just
imagine the aunts and uncles said, those evil children, they threw away our sibling in that dark, dark place.
But also, if you do have siblings, it's kind of agreeing that this is the best choice for your parent as well. And sometimes there can be friction with that kind of decision. What's your take on this one? Let us know on our WhatsApp number, +2783 288 6684. We're asking this question today. Is it okay to take your elderly parent to an old age home? Is it abandonment or is it adaptation? What's your take on that? We've got so much coming up. The second hour conversation is standing out for me today, buddy.
It certainly is a good one, right? Because relationship dynamics can change so much. And some of the things that change relationship dynamics can also be financial. So sometimes, we're all living in the economy of this time in 2026. And sometimes the relationship doesn't work out and you guys have to go your separate ways. But maybe you cannot afford to go your separate ways in a physical sense at that particular time. So you've separated emotionally. You guys are no longer together.
Different bedrooms, but you're still using the same kitchen.
Yeah, it could be different bedrooms. Sometimes you live in a 2-bedroom house. It's what you could afford. And you still have to keep the same bedroom.
Someone must take the couch. Take the couch.
It's very complicated.
Someone must take the couch.
What do you do if you cannot move out, or if one of you cannot move out, but you are separated and have to live in the same home? We're going to be unpacking that dynamic in the next hour.
I also see some positives, especially when you do have children, where you're just taking some time to actually make that separation, considering that it's going to be a big shift for your children. And at times it's probably a deeper decision to say, you know what, living together right now is probably the best decision for the kids. How do you get practical, even if you're doing it for positive reasons and not just for financial constraints? So that's going to be an interesting one. We'll be speaking to Desola Susan, who is a people optimizer all the way from London.
Love that.
We are going to be optimized as people.
I hope so. I hope that we are going to be optimized because we need to understand the dynamics of these things. What do you do when you guys meet in the kitchen? Are you buying separate groceries? Hey, you ate my yogurt. Or you ate my grapes. Oh, what a mess.
I know, the grapes.
What a mess.
The grapes are controversial.
The grapes are very controversial.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll chat a little bit about that one. In the meanwhile, let us know on our WhatsApp number what you think about that one. But remember, we also on our live streams where you can join us. Holla back at us. Let us know which country you listen to Channel Africa from. We'd love to hear from you. It's always kind of rejuvenates us as we hear, oh, there's someone from Kenya.
That is true.
Oh, there's someone from Malawi who's listening. So let us know on those platforms. Remember, we are on our YouTube page, which is Channel Africa. Also, the easier way you can find it using that handle at Channel Africa 1. But also, at the same time, if you prefer Facebook, you can find us on our Facebook page, Channel Africa, and then you can quickly just press on that profile picture and then it will say, boom, here you are in studio. You are with Ben and Palesa at 9 to midday Central African time. So it'll be easy for you just to do it that way as well. We make it easy for you. So do join us on those live streams and don't keep quiet. Say hi so we can hear that you are there right here on Channel Africa. Well, we're moving on. We're going to be talking about that conversation, the complexities of living together while separated. What is the arrangement and how do we deal with even the separation process in itself? And how long does this thing go for? Because it cannot go on forever, right? Because at the end of the day, the objective is to get separated. But we'll unpack that in the second hour of the show. It's 1000 hours Central African time. Let's quickly move on right now and get the latest news from Jwalane.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thanks, Benjamin. Top stories. Sudan has accused Ethiopia of allowing drones to be launched from its territory, and America willing to escort tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. Good morning. Sudan has accused Ethiopia of allowing drones to be launched from its territory into Sudan to carry out attacks in February and March. This is the first time Sudan has directly accused its neighbor of involvement in the 3-year civil war. The Sudanese Foreign Ministry statement released late on Monday is the latest sign that one of the world's deadliest conflicts between the army and the Rapid Support Forces is drawing in regional powers from Africa and beyond. The Sudanese army has been fighting the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces in a conflict that has threatened to fracture the country and has driven millions of people to flee their homes. The Congress of the People Party, or COPE, in South Africa has described its late leader Musiwa Lekota as an honest man. Lekota died in the early hours of this morning at a hospital in Midrand at the age of 77. He'd stepped back from active politics last year to focus on his health. The party's interim leader, Teboho Louate, has paid tribute to Lekota.
To me, he's one of those leaders that you could look upon because of his outright honesty, the guidance that he has given us as Congress of the People. Many of us grew under his arm, in the political field. And I'm sure South Africans will always remember that he has been one person who is outspoken when it comes to what needs to be done in the right way. As a party, we have had a lot of challenges, but he stood in there to make sure that Congress of the People plays a significant role within the country's politics.
Ntebo Mokobo looks back at Lekota's life.
Born in 1948 in Kroonstad in the Free State, Musiwa Patrick Teralekota was an anti-apartheid activist. He was expelled from the University of the North for his involvement in student politics and the Black Consciousness Movement. Lekota was arrested and served a jail term at Robben Island with Nelson Mandela in 1974. After his release in 1983, he was again in prison during the 1985 Delmas treason trial. He was also a member of the UDF and later the ANC national chairperson. In post-apartheid South Africa, Lekota served as Premier in the Free State and in Cabinet as Minister of Defense between 1999 and 2008. In the same year, he left the ANC to form the Congress of the People.
The South African Human Rights Commission, or SAHRC, is hosting a two-day national conference on human rights, border management and responsible migration starting today in Johannesburg. This forms part of its constitutional mandate to promote and protect human rights in South Africa. The Commission spokesperson, Wisani Baloi.
The Commission, in line with its mandate to promote and protect human rights, has monitored and received a number of complaints on migration and its impact on human rights. Challenges such as open borders, crime, high unemployment rate, access to healthcare services, and access to education have dominated the public discourse for some time. As such, this conference aims to provide a platform for the Commission and stakeholders to deeply engage into these multi-dissectional challenges affecting the country. In addition, the conference will explore the root causes of migration and be solution-oriented on push and pull factors to strengthen coordinated response at national, regional, and international levels.
U.S. President Donald Trump says if necessary, the American Navy will escort tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has blocked the narrow strip between the Gulf and the Indian Ocean. It is the freeway through which about a fifth of global oil is transported. The BBC's Samira Hussein has the story.
Gas and oil prices are surging as investors worry about how long the war will last. And with so much of global energy supplies relying on stability in the region, a protracted conflict could mean big spikes in energy costs. Now, the president made it clear that the U.S. would provide insurance and guarantees for all maritime trade, especially energy traveling through the Gulf. And that brought some calm to investors.
Recapping the top story, the Sawa, Sudan has accused Ethiopia of allowing drones to be launched from its territory into Sudan to carry out attacks in February and March. This is the first time Sudan has directly accused its neighbour of involvement in the 3-year civil war. For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 For Channel Africa News, I'm Jolani Tulo Wepe.
SABC News. The African Perspective. On the Move with Benjamin and Palesa every weekday on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Relationships, very, very stressful. It can be stressful, right?
No.
We're always
relationships
navigating.
are lovely from where I'm sitting. Best.
Look, they can be lovely, but when they go wrong, they can be extremely stressful. But we have to navigate both parts of these simultaneously. We have to know that we enjoy ourselves when the relationships are lovely and going well. But when there are things that aren't going so well, there's different parts of ourselves that we sort of have to tap into. And now, because of the dynamics that we find ourselves in, right? Sometimes it's living together, sometimes we're married, the economic situation as well. Some people live together because it just makes more financial sense to be in the same house. And when you've also lived together for a long time or you are married, you've always sort of put your economies together in that space. So if you decide that, unfortunately, this relationship didn't particularly work out. It's time for us to go our separate ways. But we don't have the financial strength to move into separate homes. What happens when we live together but are separated? We'll be chatting about that in this hour of the show.
All right, Disola Susan, a People Optimize from London, is going to help us with that conversation coming up just in a few minutes' time.
I offer you nothing else, and girl, you don't get any issue. Girl, I go hold you well, and I go do anything that you wish. Me share my heart, so don't blame me for you. No one hears it tomorrow, somebody else come take you for you. They do me lomo, this thing no be normal. Me no want to do more, please don't give me trouble. You they do me lomo, this thing no be normal. Be my lover, do me lippy like yeah. Pick you up in the foreign, bring it on what is on your mind. Yeah, baby, and it's a Bonnie and Clyde, babe. And all that you promised to show and tell me no time or soon when I'm right here. You and I together, so we go together. See me pose, no I be and I will pose, you fly me say nah. Life in with you, girl, me love it. Dying with you, tell him forever. Oh, you did do me lomo. This thing no be normal. Me no want to do more. Please don't give me trouble. You did do me lomo. This thing no be normal. You go be my lover. Do me lippy like that. 0244, my baby. I just want to call your number. I find my person who will take my pain away. I give up for love. I don't want to be so jealous. If you leave me, baby, chaos. When size up, you too fine, oh girl, I want you for you. Something nice, I don't mind, me I want me do. Me share my boss, so don't blame me for you. I know what you say tomorrow, somebody else don't take you for you. They do me lomo.
Hey, that one, you can already see those dance moves dancing to that rhythm of Lomo. Kitty there brings us that one with the Black Sheriff. It's 9 minutes past 10 o'clock Central African time. We're speaking a lot of live conversations today. Earlier on, we were speaking about how does it feel for you to actually be someone who takes a parent to an old age home? Do you think it's abandoning your parent, or do you think it's just adapting to the situation? We were speaking to Vian Lucas, who is a social worker in the palliative care space. We'll put that up on our YouTube. Usually we podcast these conversations, so if you missed it, you can check it out on that YouTube page at Channel Africa 1. Hey, let's take a break. We'll be back.
Stay tuned to Channel Africa. Stream us on our new and updated website, channelafrica.co.za.
Mzansi, 100 days to go. From 11 June to 19 July, your national broadcaster SABC brings you every moment live. Watch on SABC3, stream on SABC Plus, and stay connected on SABC Radio. Download SABC Plus now and be ready for kickoff. SABC is the official broadcaster of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Africa, meet Abedi.
Yeah, that's me.
Abedi is a music lover through and through.
I really love African music.
He's got a taste for all kinds of tunes and spends his days listening to Channel Africa. Guess what? He didn't know.
Okay.
Channel Africa wants to help Abedi and all music lovers everywhere to discover even more incredible music. That is why Channel Africa is calling on all African musicians to submit their music. Musicians, remember to give us all your relevant information. Make your submissions at music@channelafrica.co.za. Submissions are your chance to be heard on radio. But sadly, they do not guarantee that you'll be playlisted. All submissions will be carefully reviewed to see if they meet our station's requirement. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Palesa and Benjamin, fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
Look, we have to say love is a beautiful thing, and we love love, right? Many of us love love. Romantic love is a really beautiful thing to experience and to be able to express. But unfortunately, sometimes romantic love ends. And when a couple decides to make that decision, there's a lot of things that they have to think about, particularly if they have had long-term arrangements like living together, being married, or even having children. And many couples these days are actually deciding to separate but continue living together for a particular amount of time until they can actually go their separate ways physically. And unlike a clean physical break, this situation requires two individuals to redefine the boundaries that they have, the roles that they hold in each other's lives, and the expectations while continuing to share the same domestic space. So today we'll be unpacking what are the practical, the emotional, and the psychological dimensions to really put in the reality when you are separated but living together. Joining us is Desola Sosan, who's a people optimizer, joining us all the way from London this morning. Good morning, Desola. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic.
Desola,
Thank
you have to tell us what a people optimizer is.
Hello to you too. Well, it is to help, in simple terms, is to help people become all they can and want to be.
I see. Well, let's speak about the situation. Many of the times when we think about separation or a breakup, a lot of people say it's a clean break, and that means we're just going our separate ways. But there's so many things that are happening in the world today, especially if you were already living together, if you were married, if you have children, that decision can't happen in that way. And so couples are deciding to continue living together even though they have separated. What do you think informs a decision like this?
Well, yeah, just like you rightly put it, there are different things to take into account, especially when people have been together for so long. Making a clean break is not tidy. It might be easier to consider the possibility of cutting off cold turkey, but there are a lot of considerations to put in place. And like you said, finances have to be tidied up. Sometimes couples are waiting for a property to sell, and it doesn't make sense at that time to try to find other living arrangements. They're waiting for the divorce to come through. Sometimes a person might be moving back to their home country if it's in a case where two people are of different nationalities. So all of that takes a minute. So while the emotional connection is no longer there and they've made the conscious decision to sever that, their lives actually have to go through a gradual phase of separation. Financial reasons, sometimes because they have children and they're thinking about the well-being of the children, they want to minimize that disruption. They might consider going via the legal separation route while living together.
Mm-hmm. That means you have to be two amicable people in the perfect world, right? But we know that we live in an imperfect world with a lot of emotions and a lot of internal turmoil that happens even during this period. It's not always ideal, but you would have to have a very deep, serious, long conversation about this if you want it to work.
Absolutely. You have to be rational. I think that's the first thing that you have to consider.
Sure. That must be the hardest part, though.
Absolutely. Except in a situation where, and we see this happen, where people are already leading separate lives, even though they're married, right? In that instance, it might be an easier thing to contemplate. But if the relationship was going well up until a certain point and it kind of goes downhill, and within a short frame of time, that decision to separate comes on the table, it has to be difficult to agree to live together and lead consciously lead separate lives. The scenario I described earlier usually occurs without either party, one of the parties realizing it, where there is that constant separation and they're just getting by and they're roommates in the actual fact. So for this case, yeah, they have to be rational, they have to be logical, and the ideal thing will be for them to create a plan. The more they can put in writing, the better, so that those lines are clear, those boundaries are clear. They have to understand what implications it will have for their physical space. So we're talking physical separation in terms of bedrooms and designated areas in the room. In terms of financial expenses, they need to have separate bank accounts. They have to split household expenses down the middle as much as they can. If they're rational enough, they might be able to consider who earns more and take that into account. But if it's going to be as close to cold turkey as possible, then it will have to be split down the middle. And then the functional living space, who does the cooking, the cleaning, doing their laundry independently. All of those need to be clear for this to work, for it to actually get them the outcome that they want, and to minimize the emotional challenging bit. And they also have to think about the social aspect. So they're separated, legally separated, but still need to live together because of certain considerations. So they might be seeing other people, they might be involved with other people, and that should be discussed. That should be agreed on.
Yeah.
Are they allowed to bring them home? Are they allowed to stay over? Are the children allowed to meet them? All of those need to be discussed. And like I said, it needs to be documented. It needs to be taken into account. Everything needs to be defined, ideally in writing. How long, how they'll live together, and what those intricacies in terms of financial, physical, functional, and their social interaction will be.
You know, Dasola, you've mentioned so many things that I can see sort of blowing the house down, almost like the big bad wolf came and blew down the straw house, just in terms of how those conversations are going to happen. Separation itself is a very highly emotive time, and sometimes when we are very emotional, it's hard for us to have those practical conversations, especially ones that involved someone that you used to love, probably still do love, but can't be together anymore for whatever reasons that caused your separation. And now you have to speak about whether or not you can bring in boyfriends and girlfriends to the house. That I think is also part of the most extreme conversations that need to happen
That's hectic.
in the moment. But let's speak about the more practical conversations that need to happen first, right? Because the first thing that comes to mind is like, okay, where do we sleep if we live in a 2-bedroom house and we have children? Do we still share the same bedroom if we don't have any other room that we can share? Does one person permanently occupy the couch? We can be rather uncomfortable, I can imagine, for that person.
Gross.
And a bit gross. And what about the food? Who pays for what? You know, how do we actually create an environment where those conversations can happen?
My recommendation would be to have a third party, in this case, a mediator. Someone who is not involved in your situation, who can be objective and who can help draw those lines and separate, initiate those conversations.
And it shouldn't be a mother-in-law, right?
No.
Oh no. More spanners in the works.
Oh gosh, no. I mean, I don't see any mother-in-law being completely objective. It's not they don't want to be, but it's just not possible. They have emotions attached to the marriage, and they might be in support or otherwise, but it will not be a constructive engagement. But yeah, to have a professional, a trained mediator, have those conversations, navigate those conversations with them. And that particular example you referenced, where they have only one bedroom, and because they have children, they need to figure that out. That is a tricky one, and I really hope that people in that situation can come to terms with the fact that they might need to take turns. Somebody might need to have the bedroom for a week, and then the other person stays on the couch, because comfort is also important, and the quality of their life should not be significantly impacted because they need to take this decision. And I just want to highlight that sometimes this is what is best for relationships. Nobody wants a relationship to break down, but at the end of the day, when people get married, when they get involved with each other, My belief is that they should be better individually and together. Where that is compromised, it might just be the best thing for them, for the children, for the people that come in contact with them, that they go their separate ways. So this in itself is a temporary fix, is a means to an end.
Yeah.
And I think if that is what is at the back of their minds, they might be more amenable to making concessions and sacrificing and negotiating so that they can get that outcome that they want.
Desola, let's take a break. Stay on the line. We'll continue this one after the break.
Got something to say? Are you passionate about issues that matter? Do you have a voice that deserves to be heard? Well, we've got the perfect platform for you. Call in or drop us a WhatsApp on +27 63 406 9126. And we will call you back so you could have your say and be part of the conversation.
30 years of age. I just turned 30 on the 15th of November. So yeah, that's who I am, you know.
It's not just talk. It's your chance to air your views, share your opinion, engage with a community that values your perspective. Follow us on our social media. Visit our website at www.channelafrica.co.za and get ready to share your views on Channel Africa, the African perspective. 6 decades strong, Channel Africa continues to inspire Africa and the world, proudly sharing
the African perspective.
All right, let's continue the conversation. We're speaking to Desola Susan, a people optimizer, joining us from London. We're speaking about the complexity of living together while separation is happening. What do you need to do? There is usually a very emotionally charged environment here, and there are challenges where now, because you're trying to disassociate from your partner, you're moving away from that partnership into a sense of independence. How do you rearrange your situation in the household? We're speaking to Desola Susan, who's helping us on this one. A people optimizer. I want to be a people optimizer one day. That's a nice title to have. I love that. Desola, you know, the thing about this is that you have to also think about earmarking boundaries. And, you know, that's something that needs to be done very quickly, that this is where we draw the boundary, right? No, we are not going to hug. We are not going to kiss on the cheek. We're not going to be in the bathtub at the same time like we used to be back in the day. So those boundaries that you do create are very difficult because you're used to that person from a very romantic perspective, but also from a very kind of deeper level, right? So when you're making that separation, it's even harder to do it while living together. How do you navigate that emotional roller coaster?
I think it's very important what you just raised, because we're asking people to, in a sense, be robots, right? So you've been involved with someone, you've been comfortable around them. I mean, you've been married, they've seen you undressed and all of that. And we're asking, they're asking themselves, not me, to live together, but as roommates, not as partners, not as ex-romantic partners. And that can be challenging. At the same time, those feelings can't be switched off necessarily. If a person is not a psychopath or a sociopath, they have emotions, and those emotions are allowed to surface every now and then. And that's why the recommendation is write it down as much as possible. Now, it's not to suggest that lines won't be crossed every now and again, but while they're in that rational, logical state, they can put those mitigating circumstances in place. So, for instance, if this happens, what then must we do? If this happens, if I mistakenly brush against you in the hallway, for instance, what might that signal, and what might we need to do as a result of that? And I think this has to be an ongoing situation where they're supported by an external person, that they can easily say, once this has happened, then we go back and have a conversation, because perhaps we haven't considered this eventuality, or we didn't anticipate that this might occur. Now that it has, we need to go back to the drawing board and review, because those physical boundaries are critical to achieving success in this. If you're trying to emotionally separate from somebody and you then allow romantic contact to occur every now and again, clearly you're not going to arrive at that goal, that destination that you want.
Yeah.
So while they are carrying on with the initial plan, that needs to be a living document where it's constantly updated, where it's constantly being checked, and when there are quote and unquote infractions, they need to go back and then have a conversation to say, okay, this has happened, how do we move forward? Again, keeping that outcome that they want in view. And if they then decide perhaps that is no longer what we want, then they again need to come back together and decide that they're moving in a different direction.
Yeah, I mean, speaking about those lines being crossed, I'm sure a few times, sometimes those lines are crossed in the bedroom as well, especially depending how long you have this situation going on for. But what is also of big concern to many is the children. If we are living together but separated, adults don't like telling the truth to children. And they think, no, let's pretend like we're still together so the kids are going to be fine. But eventually this situation will have to break and one person will have to move out, which is still an added layer to be discussing with the children. When is the right time to tell the children, yes, mommy and daddy are still here, or, we're both together here, but we're no longer together, we're no longer in a relationship, and eventually one of us is going to be moving out?
That's quite a tricky one, and it's sad even because that's a radical change that is coming to the lives of those children, and it's further complicated because those parents are still there. So how do you tell children, oh well, we're getting a divorce? Because children are smart, right? Children are they pick up on things, they can see that changes are happening.
True.
But if the physical doesn't match up with what you're telling them or what they think they know, then the confusion is further reinforced. So I think it will be dependent on the age and maturity of their children. And I separate those two because I don't want to suggest that a particular age directly indicates maturity.
Right.
It should be on a case-by-case basis. What can the child handle? It might be worth again, inviting a third party, a professional counselor to walk through that process with the children. And they will start with scenarios. The typical thing would be to ask questions like, what if this happens? Say a friend tells you they're going through this. How would you perceive that? How would you process that? What do you think might be going through their heads? And that would give insight into how the child is understanding or processing or might react to a similar situation should it be happening to them. And then they can gently ease the child into understanding what it is that is happening around them. And like I said, once that plan is in place, then it becomes something that they can go back to. Even that they can show the child. That's okay. The child is mature enough.
Sure.
They can show the child to say, this is what we're doing. These are the things that you can expect to see going forward. This is the time frame, and this is the final outcome of what it is that we're working towards. Yeah.
That's what I wanted to ask you about, the time frame. How long should it be? Because, some people are still trying to hang on while the other person is actually no longer in the same place emotionally. But we have to leave it there, Desola. Thank you for joining us. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Deshola Shoso.
All right. Thank you so much.
Way.
Okay, cool. That's Desola Susan, People Optimizer, joining us from London. Thank you so much for joining us. What do you think of that conversation? Let us know. +27 83 288 6684. That's our WhatsApp number. Save it on your phone and let us know what you think of that. We're moving on right now, bringing back Afile Lingwati for the latest sports.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Let's kick off with football news. Mamelodi Sundowns coach Miguel Cardoso has criticized what he views as lack of backing from the Premier Soccer League, PSL, after the club's request to postpone their upcoming Betway Premiership fixture against Orbit College was declined. Drawing on his time at Esperance de Tunis, Cardoso noted that clubs competing in CAF tournaments were routinely granted domestic fixture breaks to better balance their continental commitment.
I think that is something that PSL should and the federation should understand what is better for South African football regarding how we represent ourselves in the international competitions and how we relate with the national competitions to create more chances for those teams. I just want to remember I was in Tunisia, and where there are Champions League matches, there are no matches of the championship. They just stop the championship. And even between the two matches against Stade Malien, we're going to play also PSL.
Cardoso is concerned about player welfare.
So it's the football we have. Of course, I respect. I'll do my best. I don't complain. I just state the things, and I hope the players will give the answers that we need to give, so that we can be up to the challenges that we have ahead. Of course.
Now, boxing news. IBO world champion Ricardo Malajiga has withdrawn from an eagerly anticipated rematch with Siko Ngotole for the IBF number 1 contender slot. According to the press release issued by No Doubt Management, former WBC flyweight champion from the UK, Charlie Edwards, will replace Malajiga in the battle for a title shot. There was talk that the fight between Malajiga and Ngotole would happen after the IBF's order and subsequent truce between promoters Colin Nathan and Rodney Berman. But nothing is guaranteed in boxing. The South African public may have to wait a lot longer to witness the rematch, but in the meantime, Sequence will fancy his chances against Charlie Edwards. Now on to rugby news. Dave Rennie has been named as replacement for Scott Robertson as coach of the All Blacks and charged with taking New Zealand to a 4th World Cup triumph in Australia in 2027. The 62-year-old former Wallabies coach beat out Jamie Joseph for one of the biggest jobs in world rugby after an extensive recruitment process that started when Robertson made the surprise decision to step down halfway through his contract in mid-January. Rennie, the first All Blacks coach with Pacific Islander heritage, was handed a contract through to the end of 2027 World Cup, but will honor his commitment to Japan's Kobe Steelers before preparing New Zealand for the July tests. Robertson stepped down in the wake of a critical review of his stewardship of the team last season when the All Blacks won 10 of 13 tests but were humbled at home by the Springboks and also lost to Argentina and England. New Zealand rugby chairperson David Kirk made it clear that there were high expectations about the type of rugby the All Blacks would play. And golf news, Casey Jarvis heads into this week's Joburg Open riding a wave of success after back-to-back victories at the Magical Kenya Open and Investec South African Open. Those times lifted the 22-year-old to a career-high 80th in the official World Golf Ranking, 3rd in the race to Dubai standings, and secured exemptions into the Masters and the Open. Returning to a tournament where he finished 9th in 2022, Jarvis now has the chance to join legends Sevi Ballesteros and Sir Nick Faldo in achieving 3 consecutive DP World Tour wins. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Figile Ngwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Você é fluente em português? É apaixonado por rádio e quer trabalhar na África do Sul? Você tem documentos que o qualificam para trabalhar na África do Sul? Nesse caso, podemos ter uma oportunidade para você trabalhar no Canal África. Envie seu currículo e demonstração para Canal África at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Lembre-se, se você não receber alguma resposta nossa em 14 dias, isso significa que você não foi selecionado. Canal África, a perspectiva africana.
Step into the heart of the day on the move with Palesa and Benjamin.
Thank you, Figile. Let's move on right now. It's time for our business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Good morning. The Road Freight Association of South Africa has expressed deep concern at the latest fuel price hike following the escalating violence in the Middle East. The price of both grades of petrol has increased by 20 South African cents a litre, while the price of diesel has increased between 62 cents and 65 a litre. The price of Brent stands at $83.44. The RFA's CEO, Gavin Kelly, says that he hopes that the violence will end soon so that stability can be restored to the markets.
The increase in fuel prices are very unfortunate, given that during 2025 we saw a gradual decrease in fuel prices, which obviously was felt both at the till for consumers in the country and in terms of general economic stability in the country. We saw that the rate of inflation slowed down. Fuel plays a huge role in the general economy and in affecting the basket of goods and inflation.
South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa says that there are tangible signs that the presidential eThekwini working group has addressed some service delivery issues in the metropolitan municipality in KwaZulu-Natal province. The group has brought together different spheres of government as well as business and organised labour to tackle the problems in Durban. Ramaphosa says that the group must focus on encouraging investment and economic growth. He attended a meeting with officials as well as representatives of business and labour.
We will seek to identify areas where barriers impede the growth of your businesses. But in this regard, we need cooperation. We need you to point out those areas where there are barriers, where there are impediments, where there are silly rules that we have set up that make the success of your businesses difficult.
Nigerian President Bola Tinubu has nominated Dayo Oyedele as Minister of Finance after he led a team to overhaul Nigeria's tax system. Oyedele, previously chair of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, replaces Doris Uzoka Anite, who will be reassigned to the Ministry of Budget and National Planning. In the year 2023, Oyedele said that the tax reform was aimed at reducing the number of taxes levied by federal and state governments from more than 60 to fewer than 10. A pot of changes to make it easier to conduct business and to boost revenue. Ivory Coast has given assurances that it will continue a program to buy a residual stock of 100,000 metric tons of cocoa at the guaranteed price. Farmers had voiced concern in recent days that the stock buying program, launched in late January, to clear unsold beans and provide cash to farmers after a slump in global cocoa prices, could be halted as the mid-crop harvest gets underway earlier than usual. Around 23,000 tons have been purchased since the start of the operation, and this is according to data provided by the Agricultural Interprofessional Organization for Cocoa. The social media platform TikTok says it will not be using technology that keeps users' messages private. TikTok now stands in contrast to other major platforms like Facebook and X. The BBC's Joey Tidy has the details.
TikTok executives said that end-to-end encryption, which allows messages to be read only by the sender and the receiver, would put users on its platform, especially young ones, at risk of harm. The technology is becoming the industry standard, pleasing privacy advocates, but alarming police forces and governments, including in the UK. Child protection charities have praised TikTok's decision, which will enable authorities to investigate shared content. But analysts predict it could raise concerns about the Chinese-owned platform's data protection practices. TikTok insists that investigators will only view direct messages in serious cases.
$1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,373 naira. In Botswana, it's at 13.17. Kenya, 128 shilling, 241. And Zambia, 19 kwacha, 140. The BRICS countries in Brazil, the dollar 5.22. Russia, 77 rubles 509. India, 91 rupees 95. China, 61.90. And in South Africa, the dollar will cost you 16 rand 34 cents. 74 pence to the British pound and 85 to the euro. Gold $5,163, while platinum is at $2,128 per ounce. Brent crude oil $82.40 a barrel. For any business stories you would like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business in Johannesburg, I'm Tabiso Lohoko.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
The whole population of Africa has been shocked to the depth of its soul.
For 60 years, Channel Africa has been the voice that connects the continent, telling our stories and sharing our vision with the world. This year, we mark 6 decades of broadcast excellence.
60 years of stories, sound, and connection.
6 years of African conversations that matter.
This is 60 years of broadcast excellence.
Broadcast excellence, rooted in Africa's heartbeat and looking boldly into the future. Join Channel Africa as we celebrate 60 years of broadcasting. Still strong, still vibrant, and still giving you the African perspective.
Channel Africa.
We are up, we are ready, we are on the move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama on Channel Africa.
Nakasumbala jano de waste time, oh na. Me I want fire bazooka, oh na. Mr. Money no de waste time, Mr. Money want to ease your mind. Say baby to find no de too shine, unaka. Show why me ni. Mr. Money no de waste time, Mr. Money want to ease your mind. Hello, you carry back a lot of filo. I'ma check a phone no go de ghost to go. Ready to pay what 10 kilo. Kumatingaza, Shina say your falapa. Agata from Osaka funi bulala. Nishelo japa. Omo ajebota no be mega pa. I don't like nonsense we are go bota. Bota. Nishelo japa. Omo ajebota no be mega pa. I don't like nonsense we are go bota. Bota. Sunga la ja sunga la ja sunga ulu sunga la ja sunga ulu
Mr. Money with the vibe right now. Mr. Money with the vibe right now. Mr. Money with the vibe right now. Mr. Money with the vibe right now.
Tell me what you see when you look at me. Sungbala jako majubadi. My problem is a too sabi. Pop Marley for the pool party. I got out ya dark bada. Show you the white meaning. You know see uba ya bakada. Shop banka you go shop gada. Ele Sungbala ja sumba. Carry your matter for head like Oshuka. VVS is on my neck, zero fuga. You dey puka, see give me sugar. Cause you know you carry, give me super. Ele sunga. Oya ti mo bata biti konga.
Hello, you carry back a lot of filo. I'ma check a phone no go de ghost you. Ready to pay what 10 kilo. Kumatingaza. Shina say your falapa. Agata from Osaka funi bulala. Nishelo japa. Omo ajebota no be mega pa. I don't like nonsense we are go bota. Bota. Nishelo japa. Omo ajebota no be mega pa. I don't like nonsense we are go bota. Bota. Sunga la ja sunga la ja sunga ulu sunga la ja sunga ulu sunga.
Give me sugar, cause you know you carry, give me super. Ele sunga. Oya ti mo bata biti konga. Uluwa bona.
Start your day right with Channel Africa Breakfast. Turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa.
Mr. Flea. All day. Adeshi, Adeshi, go and tell them, Adeshi, Papi Chulo, Adeshi, stand like a tuso, Adeshi. Yeah, me now pounds and dollar, yeah. Yeah, me want a big $1, yeah. Make you go ask up $10, yeah. My people want the rabbi, yeah. What shall they profit, man? If the rabbi no day and the timbalaba no day, and you cannot do okay, do. Timaya come neko, no time for cho, no time for meow. If you know day, you know day. If you didn't day, maybe send account number. No time for cho. Adeshi, go and tell them, Adeshi, Papi Chulo, Adeshi, stand like a tuso, Adeshi.
Everywhere marama, all my girls mili. Oshie kwanya wari agota. They play, they show. If we show, you go know. Everywhere sarambara. Oshie kwanya wari agota. Adeshi, Papi Chulo ni jale. Everywhere Joe. Ukwachiri na five from Buragafe. Adeshi, Ufefenefe. Copy a Karianu.
Go and tell them, it's time to take out. About the question, them girls don't shake it. Oh, what about you? All I want be a see what you. Tipping I'm on their necks. I just flew, but I know myself. Trouble go there. Oh. Finally I'm on top. Trouble go there. Pounds and dollar, yeah. Yeah, me want a big $1, yeah. Make you go ask up $10, yeah. My people want the rabbi, yeah. What shall they profit, man? If the rabba no day and the timbalaba no day, and you cannot do okay.
Yoko. Tibaya flavor, yeah. What she for we side? Yoko. Tibaya flavor, yeah. What she for we side? He get there. Hey, he get there.
Hey, it is a jam right here on this Wednesday edition of On the Move with the best music on the African continent right here on Channel Africa. Timaya, Young Alpha there with Odesi, and we heard Burna Boy in that Sugba remix. It's 48 minutes past 10 o'clock Central African time. You are listening to Channel Africa, and today we're speaking about the complexity of, separating but living together.
Yeah, it's very complicated. There's so many things to actually think about, especially when it comes to the duration of how long you guys are living together. Because I'm imagining the longer it is, which makes sense sometimes because, sometimes it takes a while to get back on your feet financially. There are many instances where, okay, you just can't do things now.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking the longer it remains that way, the more complicated things can become. Because, they say, mo metsi ankila makoteng atlo emagape or la manzi ange amakhona.
There you go again, trying to be multilingual.
I am multilingual, okay. But this practically means that where water once stood, it can stand again, and it's an African proverb that we have in our language.
What is
here
the proverb again? Can you revise that?
It just means. It means that the feelings, you guys might be separated, but it doesn't mean that your feelings are gone altogether.
I'd love to hear that proverb in
You know what? It's 10 to 11 Central Africa time. Ben is trying to be silly. Let's move on.
Darubini ya Afrika na I am Henry Shakif.
Mgombea urais wa chama cha wananchi CUF Gambo Samatindo ameitaka serikali ya Tanzania kuweza kutoa msimamo wao wa wazi kuhusiana na matukio ya utekaji watu. Tamko hili la mgombea huyu wa CUF mnalichukuliaje na nini mtazamo wenu?
Haya ndio masuala ambayo sisi kama watetezi wa haki za binadamu au shirika la utetezi tunapenda sana, ni moja ya kazi ambayo tunaifanya.
Lakini lakini tatizo hili limekuwa sugu kwa hivi karibuni. Hili linaleta tafsiri gani kwa nchi ya Tanzania kiujumla? Mnasimamia wapi mpaka hivi sasa, na je, mmekwisha kutoa tamko lolote?
Ndio, sisi tulitoa statement yetu. Sasa ni jambo la kutisha sana kuona mambo yanaendelea, na inatisha sasa hivi sana. Watu wanaonekana kukasirishwa sana na matukio ya namna hii.
Darubini ya Afrika kila Jumatatu hadi Ijumaa kuanzia saa 11 kamili hadi saa 12 kamili jioni majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
The sound of Africa is evolving. Experience our new mobile app. Free to download, free to connect.
Obafia, Big Wiz, look. Don't worry for yeah. Sassy girls from my city, Lagos. Yeah, you know we get status. Money talk and shut up. When you talk too much, you gain. Easy, FCC, Kilo busy, Obafia, Wheezy, Obafia, Lemufia. Come out for mind. I dey lie in my mind. The money in my mind. The money where you dey owe me, you go pay me today. Make you no go jose me. Obafia dey my side. May months, Afurisa. Anytime see my money, go and closer. Kilo, if you owe me my money, you go pay me my money. Money no go complete. Money no go complete. Through my color, oh my Insta bro, my sister. Fresh plug go jembe, fresh plug go dance. Kese, bese, baby. Fresh plug go jembe, fresh plug go dance. Kese, bese, baby. Tell me I want something from you. Put the jembe me, put the jembe me, baby. Kill it. Sorry, I got fast. The money constant. Fast. Sorry, I got fast. The money constant.
Kese, my police I go kese. Wheezy kese, even mommy go kese. Spending money like it's nothing. You beg back anybody. Oh yeah, play the bed to make me jembe. Yeah. Backy day, Wheezy day, the girl them day, I'm on plenty day. Money day, Prada day, no come take and play. Wheezy day, Backy day, my police are day. Mommy day, DJ choose himself, he done day. Yeah. And you know the money coming constantly. Baby, show for me. And you know the money coming constantly. And I focus. And I do love. Get the killing with the dummy. And I do my side of about. Don't shout. Get you up. Cause ain't proud. Sorry about Buffalo. Anyway, when the money constant, money come. Sorry Buffalo. Anyway, when the money constant, money come. When
DJ Maporisa, DJ Tunes, Wizkid, and Marvo on that one. It's titled Money Constant. What's coming up, buddy?
Yeah, we're looking forward to the next hour's conversations. But before we even go there, hopefully you are engaging us on the conversations we've had in the past 2 hours. It's very relational, right, today. And we do continue to navigate through this life and the relationships that we have with our families, with our friends, with our partners. It's all part of how life happens to all of us. But in the next hour of the show, we're looking forward to hearing. Exactly, hearing. How's your hearing? Do you think it's okay? Is your hearing still good, or is it declining? Actually, earlier this week was World Hearing Day, and today we're going to be looking at the silent indicators that you may be losing your hearing, or your hearing may be declining, and we're going to be finding out exactly how to gauge that. Because, hey, I don't think we pay attention to our hearing and our ears in terms of overall health as much as we should be.
Yeah, no, for real. I think we don't know much about these things. You think I need to go for an eye test.
You think you're always going to see, you're always going to hear.
Yeah.
It's automatic.
Yeah.
Obvious.
Yeah, I need to go to an eye test because I really think I don't see as far as I used to. Don't say anything about old age.
You need to do that. You're not old, Benji. You're a spring chicken. It was you were born yesterday.
Thank you.
But you need to go get your eyes checked still.
Yeah, I do. And I've noticed like there's some people who are doing some fantastic work and stuff like this. Mm-hmm. Like I saw that Black Coffee is doing like a free eye test for like children and school kids and stuff like that. I wish we could do the same for hearing as well.
Yeah, I don't think hearing actually or ears get as much attention as even eyes.
Yeah, sure.
Right? Because eyes, you'll hear someone say, oh, you need glasses. You'll see people have prescriptions, or people talk about, hey, you guys should check your children's eyes. They happen at a lot of schools as well here in South Africa in particular, where, optometrists come to schools and check the kids' eyes and no, this one needs glasses, this doesn't. But I never really hear of anything for our, audio when it comes to that. I don't think I've ever had my ears checked on how my listening is.
The last time I got my ears checked was in primary school. Remember they used to put a device in your ears that has like a
tweet, like a little sound, and you should say if you can still hear it or not.
Something like that.
And that was a long time ago. I haven't heard of anything like that in a while.
But we wear earphones all the time, so we should know if we had problems there.
We should know, but that's actually also quite dangerous for our ears. People who work a lot with ear devices.
Okay, I'm taking down the volume of my earphones.
Can also lose their hearing quite easily as we get older.
Yeah. All right, we're going to be speaking about that because you can listen to us right now. We probably have so many messed up views about hearing because we think hearing is something, but maybe it's something else. We'll find out what we need to know about hearing, and we'll be speaking to Richard Mwangi, a consultant audiologist from Kenya. All right, we're going all over the world today. We just came from London, now we're going to Kenya. So that's what we're going to be talking about, reflecting on yesterday's World Hearing Day. But Jwalani is back right now for our final morning news for the morning. Let's find out what she has for us.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thanks, Benjamin. Top stories: Asawa medical certificates come under scrutiny at the Madlanga Commission in South Africa, and the American military names its first troops killed in the conflict between the US and Iran. Good morning. Chairperson of the Madlanga Commission, Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga, has referred controversial businessman Brown Mokhotsi Synod for further scrutiny. The Commission is investigating allegations of criminal infiltration and political interference in the country's criminal justice system. Earlier, it raised a concern on more witnesses submitting a medical certificate. This after Mokhotsi failed to testify on Monday last week, saying he was sick. He, however, submitted a medical certificate later that day, but the Commission's chairperson, Justice Madlanga, says the medical certificate's contents is useless. Madlanga was scathing in his delivery.
Yours, Mr. Mokhotsi, says medical condition. That is what the last one before yours also said, and we had to insist on getting another medical certificate, which then stated what the real condition was. Just saying medical condition, that's useless. It doesn't assist us, and ordinarily, that's something we just cannot and should not accept.
South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has expressed profound sadness at the passing of liberation struggle activist Musiwa Lekota. Presidential spokesperson Vincent Magwenya says Lekota will be remembered for his patriotism, his intellect and his huge contribution in the fight for an inclusive, racial South Africa, for which he sacrificed so much and worked so passionately.
South Africa has lost a patriot, a freedom fighter and a servant of the people, whose life story is closely intertwined with our journey of struggle and the realization of democracy. His life was one of resilience, courage, and steadfast belief in justice. President Ramaphosa honors Mr. Lekota, especially for his principled dedication to non-racialism during our struggle and in a liberated South Africa.
Sudan has accused Ethiopia of allowing drones to be launched from its territory into Sudan to carry out attacks in February and March. This is the first time Sudan has directly accused its neighbor of involvement in the 3-year civil war. The Sudanese Foreign Ministry statement released late on Monday is the latest sign that one of the world's deadliest conflicts between the army and the Rapid Support Forces, RSF, is drawing in regional powers from Africa and beyond. The Sudanese army has been fighting the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces in a conflict that has threatened to fracture the country and has driven millions of people to flee their homes. The American military has named its first troops killed in the conflict between the U.S. and Iran. 6 soldiers died when an unmanned aircraft system evaded air defenses to hit a command center in Port Shuaiba, Kuwait on Sunday. U.S. Central Command initially said 3 soldiers died in the attack, but officials confirmed on Monday the death toll had doubled after 1 person succumbed to injuries and 2 more bodies were found in the rubble. These 6 are the only fatalities confirmed by the U.S. military since it launched a new war against Iran with Israel. And finally, scientists in Spain say they've identified changes influencing how women bond with their babies. They are studying how women's brains are altered during pregnancy. The study involves MRI brain scans on 127 women before, during and after pregnancy. Grey matter appears to dip in quantity when women are pregnant before increasing again 6 months after childbirth. Professor Susana Carmona is one of the researchers leading the study.
I know it sounds like a bad thing, but it does not necessarily need to be a bad thing, as in the brain, as in life. Sometimes less is better. We usually use the metaphor of a tree in which you have a lot of branches and you start pruning some of the branches so the tree can grow up through the main one, the more important ones.
Recapping the top story, the Sawa chairperson of the Madlanga Commission, Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga, has referred controversial businessman Brown Mogotsi's sick note for further scrutiny. For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I'm Cholani Tulo Mwepe.
SABC News. The African Perspective. On the Move with Benjamin and Palesa every weekday on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Yesterday, we were marking World Hearing Day. It was a global observing moment for us to look at the increasing awareness of hearing health. But sometimes we don't know the subtle issues around early indicators of hearing loss. We'll be speaking to Richard Mwangi, consultant audiologist from Kenya. We're going to examine those silent indicators that shouldn't be dismissed. Listen to your ears. That's what we're going to be looking at.
And you know, every day I keep taking the volume up on my headphones. Like, is it because I can't hear properly when it's lower, or should I take it higher? But also, I never heard anybody say, hey, I'm going for my ear test today. I hear people say I'm going for my full body checkup, I'm going for my eye test, but never the ears. So they're not getting as much attention as we give them. They're a very vital part of our lives, actually. What would happen if you can't hear? I can't do this job if I can't hear anymore.
Yeah, and maybe you'll fall one side.
Yeah, balance, right?
Balance, yeah.
So yeah, there's lots to talk about. Let's speak about hearing and hearing loss and the signs that you can look out for in this hour of the show.
Yeah, you are listening to Channel Africa. Stay connected to Africa and the world with Channel Africa, the international voice of the South African Broadcasting Corporation. Watch or listen anytime, anywhere at channelafrica.co.za, or check us out on Channel Africa mobile app or on SABC Plus or via the DSTV and OpenView audio bouquets. Remember, on social media at Channel Africa, on Facebook at Channel Africa 1, on all other platforms. Channel Africa, first with the African story globally. Atalia More with Surprise Nene there with Ganyanawe. It's 10 minutes past 11 o'clock Central African time. Stay with us right here on Channel Africa.
Across Africa, communities rise with the promise of clean water and clean sanitation. The African Union's 2026 theme calls us to action.
It's about mobilizing real commitments, securing climate-resilient water and sanitation projects, and ensuring that water becomes a driver of sustainable development and prosperity across the continent.
A landmark moment, not only for Africa, but for the global movement for access to safe water for all.
Assuring sustainable water availability for every home, every village, every nation. This is the Africa we want.
Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
Yeah.
Mr. Fido do do do, yeah, yeah. Oh, sha. Good boy. It's in me, take it things easy. Catch some cruise, my cheese. You spoke one for days. Come on for the body, no they breathe. Put on your shoe, make it stand at this. All your sorrow, make it dance them free. If you know be la, yeah. If you know be la, go get them Fuji. One my joke, ijogo, yeah. What you want, my jojo? Ijogo, yeah. When you my jojo, yeah. And if you know be la, go get them Fuji. Modupa, Olua, yeah. Joy is coming. Joy is coming. Dupa, Olua, yeah. Joy is coming. Only early in the morning. Dupa, Olua, yeah. Joy is coming. Joy is coming. Dupa, Olua, yeah. Joy is coming. Only early in the morning. Good morning. Joy come in the morning. But we dey look for the go. So joy come in the woody. To overtake kò yá settle and talk party yo kò yá pẹ́kù wọn. Àwọn tó dey taking 3 and 4. Ọmọ àjò wọn máa bá bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. It's alright. I don't lie. No step on my shoe.
All right, let's keep things moving. That one is Fido with one title, Joy is Coming with Kiz Daniel. 13 minutes past 11 o'clock South African time. You're joining us from the SABC studios in Johannesburg, South Africa. That's where we're broadcasting from right here on Channel Africa. Today, we're going back into this day that was yesterday, which was World Hearing Day. We're going to be examining the silent indicators of maybe there's something going wrong here. Maybe there's untreated hearing decline. Yeah, it's so easy for us to test different parts of our bodies, but really our hearing, sometimes we dismiss it, maybe we minimize it, maybe we just don't know what to look out for. Richard Mwangi is a consultant audiologist from Kenya who's going to help us in this conversation. Welcome on the show, Richard.
Thank you for having me. How are you doing?
I'm doing very good. Where are you joining us from in Kenya?
I'm joining you from Nairobi, Kenya. We practice facilities called Doctors of Hearing.
Yes.
We have branches in Nairobi and satellite branches all over Kenya. And it's a pleasure to have this discussion with you because, it couldn't be coming a better time like this, and because so much is happening to this world. Hearing problem is an increase, and hearing management, where we come in, balance assessment is also improving. So we could have this discussion today. It would be very good for our viewers, and it would be an interesting one because we'll be breaking it down point by point in a way that our viewers, they'll understand and they'll be able to take care of their hearing by the time we are finishing this conversation. Thank you for having me here.
That's great. Thank you for allowing us to chat with you and making time for us here on Channel Africa. The silent and early signs of hearing loss are often easily dismissed, and it's because we don't really know what to measure our hearing with. How do we recognize our hearing in a better way, or understand hearing in a way that we can see that, you know what, I think now there's something wrong here?
Yeah. Thank you very much for that question. And you see, as it's the way you say it, it's a gradual and painless process, and many people tend to adapt without realizing that the hearing is changing with time. An early signs people often ignore is that you find that they are frequently asking people to raise their volume. It's as simple as that. You find that people are having a conversation, but some of the people, 2-3 people having a conversation, but you find this person is not following, and they'll say, raise up your volume. Can you speak up? And whereas, the volume is enough for anyone else in that desk or table to understand. You'll find that they have quite of an issue understanding a conversation in a restaurant where there is a background noise, because people who have got a hearing problem, they'll suffer so much where there is background noises. The conversation understanding conversation become an issue. They can hear that is so and so talking to us, that is so and so addressing to us. But to get the clarity of the information becomes quite of a hectic, and also you find that these people get what you call listening fatigue because they listen, they're not getting, they get frustrated. You'll also find that most of people will complain that they have got what you call ringing sound or a buzzing sound in the ear. We call it tinnitus. And then when they experience this one at least they come to our clinics. We have seen quite a number of our patients coming saying, "Oh, I have a ringing sound in the ear." When you check, the ear looks normal, but when you do the diagnostic assessment, you find that they've got a degree of the hearing problem, and then you start managing from that point. So you'll find people also trying to get away or avoiding social gathering, a situation where the conversation feels so stressful and they cannot be able to follow the conversation. So all this, together with people finding themselves isolating, they don't want to go to meetings, they don't want to go to churches, they don't want to go to mosques, they don't want to go to gatherings, because they know for sure that understanding such a kind of a situation will be so much of an issue to follow a conversation, because they're worried is that, yes, I may be present in this conversation. I know I'll not understand the conversation very well. What if somebody asks me a question? Will I be able to understand? So they'll find that it can be humiliating for them. But what you talk about is that when you have all these signs, when you have that, you're feeling like you're withdrawing from conversation, you're finding that you cannot follow conversation in a restaurant. When you find that you're having what you call listening fatigue, that after being in an hour or in a meeting, you're getting so difficulties in understanding what others are saying, or you cannot even get the concept of what will be discussed. It is time to visit us and come in a hearing center so that we can start from history taking, assessment, and then also diagnostically managing the situation the way it's supposed to be done.
You know, Richard, I do hear at least once a year someone saying they're going to get an eye test, someone saying they're going to get their heart checked, or, you know, just a full body check. But I hardly ever, if ever, I've never heard anyone saying they're going for an ear or hearing test. And I think that is quite problematic. Maybe that's why it's important to have this conversation. Do you think that we don't pay as much attention to our hearing as we do our other body functions?
Your guess is as good as mine. And ask me why, is because, see, in most cases, we sleep and wake up hearing. And that alone makes us forget that the sense of hearing really exists. You've had so many people going for annual eye check, they go for dental check, all those checks, even the heart. But for the hearing, you find that it is so much forgotten that people realize the benefits that they get from the hearing once they start diminishing, or once they start having the buzzing noise, or once they start finding listening fatigue. Hearing check should be done annually. Even if you have got a normal hearing, it should be an annual checkup. Why is this? Because remember when we started this conversation, we talked of a gradual, painless process. So you never know when this hearing issue starts. And then if it starts early, it is caught early, it's easy to manage. But then when you find, because in our cases, we find people coming at around 7 to 10 years of living the hearing problem, it becomes quite of an issue. Yes, we'll manage the much we can. But if this person was diagnosed early enough, it is such an easy, it's an easy management that can go in us. But when it takes long, just like any other ailment, it's quite over challenging to each one of us in this practice. But all in all, it is manageable. So we agree and we say that hearing test should be done annually for each and every person, so that at least it can be caught early enough.
All right, Richard, let's take a break. Stay with us on the line. We'll continue finding out about some of the common causes and risk factors of hearing loss and how we can, work on those, hopefully before, your hearing is lost completely. We'll continue this conversation with audiologist after the break.
Africa It's time to plug into the heartbeat of the continent. Tune in to Channel Africa, your go-to radio station that broadcasts in 5 different languages.
L'Afrique du Sud célèbre la journée nationale du
Kabla hujaitwa kwa jina la Double K,
or more of our forests have been destroyed.
Partido Africano da Independência da Guiné.
See, Channel Africa represents every corner of this amazing land. From Lagos to Cape Town, Nairobi to Dakar, we've got you covered with the freshest news, music, and cultures. So, turn up the volume, feel the rhythm. Enjoy the conversation. Channel Africa, the African perspective. The voice of the continent, now online with all your sports fixtures, lifestyle, and more.
We're trying to understand the silent indicators that you might be losing your hearing. And, you know, hearing is an important function. I think we all just think it's automatic, right? No, it's okay. As long as I can hear, everything is fine. But what happens if you start experiencing hearing loss? We continue this one with Richard Mwangi, who's a consultant audiologist joining us from Kenya. Richard, let's speak about some of the bigger signs that we need to pay more attention to our hearing. Can hearing loss be hereditary? Because sometimes I find that in one particular family, the elders in that family all can't hear, and everyone said, oh no, it's a family thing. Is that possible?
Yes, I missed the part of your question, but I try to believe that you asked whether the hearing problem can be hereditary or can be with the family.
Yes, can be
That's the
hereditary.
question?
Yes, that's the question.
Yeah. That's a good question. That's a good question to ask. Because yes, one of the causes of the hearing problem is, among the things that you ask, is that is there any other member in your family who has got a hearing problem? And we end up finding that yes, you find that maybe say my father, my mother, or maybe our grandmother or my brother has got a hearing problem. That's a very important question to ask, because we want to ask if there's any other member of the family who has got, quite of a hearing, all of them to come so that we can try to see whether they have a hearing problem or not. It is very important to note that asking whether the hearing is hereditary or whether there's a problem, hearing problem in the family, in the questions that we ask, it's very, very important, because it guides us on how the management should be done, and also whether it's a family problem in that area.
You know, Richard, I've also heard of dental hygiene, eye hygiene, body hygiene, but I've never heard of ear hygiene. Are there steps that we should be taking every day to preserve our hearing, on a constant basis? Richard, are you there?
Yes. Yes, there's ear hygiene. And ear hygiene is very simple. Don't put things in your ear.
Okay.
And so many people ask me, and where are the Q-tips or the cotton buds? And I tell them, if you look at those cotton buds, the manufacturers also, they are very careful enough, and they have written just by the side there that they are not supposed to be inserted in the ear canal. The ear hygiene is very, very simple. Don't put anything to their ear. In fact, somebody some years back wrote that the smallest part of your body that should go inside your ear is your elbow. Of course, that is not possible. That's showing how it is, how impossible it is to put something inside the ear, because elbow cannot go in. So it is practically telling you that don't put anything to your ear. If this works, let's an audiologist to have a look at it, or the ENT surgeon to have a look at it and get clean. But it is not your work to clean your ear. The ear cleans itself.
Yeah.
The ear pushes out the wax. That's what you find when you're showering. You put your bathing towel, the face towel in your ear. It comes out with a bit of wax. But most people argue it must be a lot inside the ear, but that's not the case. It is just the ear doing its work of cleaning itself. It is as simple as that. Don't put anything to your ear.
So, Richard, when I come to an audiologist like you, and you check my hearing, what are you checking out for? What are you looking out for when you are actually with a patient?
Yes. I think I didn't get your question. The internet was a bit unstable. I don't know whether
All
my
right, I was
side or
just
your side.
asking you just quickly to let us know, what are you looking out for the indicators to see if someone has have had a problem with their hearing, or if there's some hearing decline?
Now, it's a good question you ask. When a patient comes to us, and I'll pick a model of the ear. Can you see this model of the ear? You can see this, right?
Okay, I'm looking at the screen. I can see the model. Yeah, sure.
Yes. Yeah. I'll take you through. When you look into the ear, this is what we look through. We want to see whether there is wax impaction, this part of the ear. If the wax is impacted, we want to clean that. If there's no wax, we go ahead and try to assess this part of the ear. It's called the eardrum.
Which is the inner part
Then when you
of the
find
ear, right?
no, this is the middle part of the ear.
Okay, middle
Okay.
part of the ear.
This is the eardrum.
Mhm.
Yeah, which comprises the eardrum and something we call ossicular chain. They are the smallest bone inside the ear, called malleus, incus, and stapes. We want to assess all those. This is the inner part of the ear, and this is where the hearing happens a lot. Now, this is the part that we want to diagnose whether how severe the hearing problem is.
Mhm.
And when you're doing that, we have different tests for either children and also adults. So for adults,
What do they
we
call
do,
that part of
what we
what?
call
Sorry to
pure
interrupt
tone
you there. What do they call that part of the ear?
this part of the ear,
Mm-hmm.
this is cochlea.
Okay, sure. You can continue.
Okay. So this is the middle ear, malleus, incus, and stapes, and this is the cochlea,
Mhm.
the inner part of the ear. Now, this is the part that we want to assess as much as possible so that we can be able to differentiate what type of a hearing loss we have, because there are different severity of the hearing problem, because hearing problem is not standard. I want to make that clear at this point, because we look at it, whether it's mild, whether it's moderate, moderately severe, or the worst case scenario where we say this person is profound or it's deaf.
Mhm.
So we want to look at those different levels of the hearing problem. And then once we diagnose what level it is, we look for the intervention and how to manage the hearing problem. Most of the hearing problem, especially with affecting the inner part of the ear, which we call the cochlea, can be managed by the hearing aids. And today's hearing aids that we talked about is they're very small, intelligent devices. We keep on telling people it is not big and beige anymore. They are
Mhm.
small, intelligent devices that are healthable and wearable devices. So they let you check your exercises that you are doing apart from the hearing. They let you monitor your heart rate. They let you monitor. It's a healthable device. So
Okay.
it is not all what was called a hearing device as an amplifier. It has changed from that to a healthable, wearable devices. So, and when it is becoming a profound deaf, and especially for children,
Mhm.
we have to introduce something we call cochlear implants if the hearings are failed. So for somebody to get a hearing cochlear implant, especially children, is that they must have tried a hearing for about 3 months. And then if it didn't work, they have to do a cochlear implant, which is a surgical intervention, and then they can be helped from that point.
Well, Richard, you've given us the remedies. It was going to be my final question. Thank you for that. Richard, where can we find your consultancy in Nairobi? Let us know if someone is listening from Kenya.
So we have our facilities in Westlands, Nairobi. This is a building called Gallant, and we are called Doctors of Hearing. The other one is in Upper Hill, the building called Fifth Avenue. We're on fifth floor, also called Doctors of Hearing. In Mombasa, we have a satellite clinic in Nyali, and also in Diani, we have a satellite clinic in Diani. So you can easily get us with a customer care number, which is very simple,
Mhm.
0722 112 555, and you can get all your answers and all the booking done so that we're getting and taking of your well-being about the hearing impairment.
All right, Richard, we've run out of time. Thank you for joining us and thank you for giving us that ear prop on our live stream and showing us how the ear works and how it gets infected. If you were not streaming, then you missed out that part of the display. But thank you so much, Richard, for giving us this understanding of hearing and how the ear works. That's Richard Mwangi, consultant audiologist, joining us from Nairobi, Kenya. It's time to move on. Filela Lingwati is back to give us the latest sports.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Let's start off with rugby news. England coach Steve Borthwick has made 9 changes to his starting 15 for Saturday's Six Nations showdown with Italy in Rome, including a major reshuffle in the back line. Finn Smith starts at fly half in place of George Ford, while Seb Atkinson comes in at centre. Tommy Freeman is the only back retained from the Ireland defeat, shifting from wing to outside centre. Injuries to Alex Michel and Ollie Lawrence forced 2 changes, but others were dropped after successive losses to Scotland and Ireland. Elliot Daly, Caden Murley and Tom Roebuck form the new back 3 as England look to rebound against the Italian side, buoyed by home advantage and rising form. On to football news, Mamelodi Sundowns coach Miguel Cardoso has criticised what he views as lack of backing from the PSL after the club's request to postpone their upcoming Betway Premiership fixture against Orbit College was declined. Drawing on his time at Esperance de Tunis, Cardoso noted that clubs competing in CAF tournaments were routinely granted domestic fixture breaks to better balance their continental commitments.
I think that is something that PSL should and the federation should understand what is better for South African football regarding how we represent ourselves in the international competitions and how we relate with the national competitions to create more chances for those teams. I just want to remember I was in Tunisia, and where there are Champions League matches, there are no matches of the championship. They just stop the championship. And even between the two matches against Stade Malien, we're going to play also PSL.
Cardoso is concerned about player welfare.
So it's the football we have. Of course, I respect. I'll do my best. I don't complain. I just state the things, and I hope the players will give the answers that we need to give, so that we can be up to the challenges that we have ahead. Of course.
On to boxing news. IBO world champion Ricardo Malajiga has withdrawn from an eagerly anticipated rematch with Siko Ngotole for the IBF number 1 contender slot. According to the press release issued by No Doubt Management, former WBC flyweight champion from the UK, Charlie Edwards, will replace Malajiga in the battle for a title shot. There was talk that the fight between Malajiga and Ngotole would happen after the IBF's order and subsequent truce between promoters Colin Nathan and Rodney Behrman. But nothing is guaranteed in boxing. The South African public may have to wait a lot longer to witness the rematch, but in the meantime, Sequence will fancy his chances against Charlie Edwards. We wrap up with golf news. Casey Jarvis heads into this week's Joburg Open riding a wave of success after back-to-back victories at the Magical Kenya Open and Investec South African Open. Those triumphs lifted the 22-year-old to a career-high 80th in the official World Golf Ranking, 3rd in the race to Dubai standings, and secured exemptions into the Masters and the Open. Returning to a tournament where he finished 9th in 2022, Jarvis now has the chance to join legends Sevi Ballesteros and Sir Nick Faldo in achieving 3 consecutive DP World Tour wins. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Filela Lingwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
The whole population of Africa has been shocked to the depth of its soul.
For 60 years, Channel Africa has been the voice that connects the continent, telling our stories and sharing our vision with the world. This year, we mark 6 decades of broadcast excellence.
60 years of stories, sound, and connection.
6 years of African conversations that matter.
This is 60 years of broadcast excellence.
Broadcast excellence. Rooted in Africa's heartbeat and looking boldly into the future. Join Channel Africa as we celebrate 60 years of broadcasting. Still strong, still vibrant, and still giving you the African perspective.
Channel Africa.
Channel Africa and you have got something in common. The thirst for knowledge.
All right, we're crossing over to Thabiso Lehoko right now, standing by with our latest business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thanks, Palesa, and good morning. The Road Freight Association of South Africa has expressed deep concern on the latest fuel price hike following the escalating violence in the Middle East. The price of both grades of petrol has increased by 20 South African cents a litre, while the price of diesel has increased between 62 and 65 cents a litre. The price of Brent stands at $83.44. The RFA CEO, Gavin Kelly.
The increase in fuel prices are very unfortunate, given that during 2025 we saw a gradual decrease in fuel prices, which obviously was felt both at the till for consumers in the country and in terms of general economic stability in the country. We saw that the rate of inflation slowed down. Fuel plays a huge role in the general economy and in affecting the basket of goods and inflation.
Farmers in South Africa's Limpopo province have expressed various concerns and expectations ahead of Premier Poppy Ramathuba's State of the Province address tomorrow. Farming is a significant contributor to Limpopo's economy, and farmers are seeking innovative ways to enhance productivity and sustainability. They're also calling for initiatives that promote local produce and help farmers access broader markets. Two of the farmers in Hamatabata, outside Lebowakgomo, say insufficient access to affordable credit and funding for farm inputs and infrastructure remains their challenge.
We have 120 people employed in our farm. We are asking the government to support us, specifically within financial help when buying fertilizers.
We're trying to give a community job. Able to make it a success, we need support from government side as well.
Cherry says it will launch its ICAUR V23 electric sports utility vehicle brand in South Africa in May, as China's largest car exporter pursues sales growth in new markets. The company's push into South Africa with a standalone electric vehicle nameplate marks the latest step in its broader global expansion drive, as Chinese car makers look to cement a foothold in emerging EV markets. The launch comes as competition intensifies in Africa's most developed auto sector, where EV adoption remains low, but government policy and rising consumer interests are beginning to open the door for new entrants. Nigerian President Bola Tinubu has nominated Taiwo Oyedele as Minister of Finance after he led a team to overhaul Nigeria's tax system. Oyedele, previously chair of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, replaces Doris Uzoka Anite, who will be reassigned to the Ministry of Budget and National Planning. In the year 2023, Oyedele said that the tax reform was aimed at reducing the number of taxes levied by federal and state governments from more than 60 to lower than 10. Part of changes to make it easier to conduct business and to boost revenue. The social media platform TikTok says it will not be using technology that keeps users' messages private. TikTok now stands in contrast to other major platforms like Facebook and X. The BBC's Joey Tidy has the details.
TikTok executives said that end-to-end encryption, which allows messages to be read only by the sender and the receiver, would put users on its platform, especially young ones, at risk of harm. The technology is becoming the industry standard, pleasing privacy advocates, but alarming police forces and governments, including in the UK. Child protection charities praised TikTok's decision, which will enable authorities to investigate shared content. but analysts predict it could raise concerns about the Chinese-owned platform's data protection practices. TikTok insists that investigators will only view direct messages in serious cases.
$1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,000 naira 373. In Botswana, it's at 13.17. Kenya, 128 shilling 241. And Zambia, 19 kwacha 140. The BRICS countries, Brazil, the dollar 5 roll 22. Russia, 77 rubles 509. India, 91 rupees 95. China, 61.90. And in South Africa, the dollar will cost you 16 rand 34 cents. 74 pence to the British pound and 85 to the euro. Gold, $5,163. Platinum $2,128 per ounce. Brent crude oil $82.40 a barrel. For any business stories you would like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business in Johannesburg, I'm Tabiso Lohoko.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Stella Longwe. Pamalonje.
Ndiyetu apa tindikatswiri oyimba wa dziko la Mozambique ameneyu amene ali Rikabana. Ndatiuzeni kuti mayimba chamba chanji komanso dzina lanu lenileni koleka ngati dzina limeneli ndilijatu atapa stage. Dzina lanu kwenikweni ndi ndani komanso mayimba chamba chanji?
Ineyo dzina langa lenileni ndine Ricardo Musa Rabana. Chamba chimene ndimayimba ine ndi manganji ndimakonda kwambiri ma tradition. Zimenezo ndi nyimbo zathu chifukwa kwathu kunoko ndi madansi osiyana-siyana a chimizi. Ndi ineyo poti ndi mnyamata wa chimizi ndi ndimakondanso nyimbo za chimizi.
Ndinu a chimizi? Ndi makondanso nyimbo za chimizi, mapangaso za chimizi. Ayi zosangalatsa kuti mwanena bwera kuti ndinu a chimizi. Anthu amazibisa anthu amafuna kukhala ndithu achitauni. Koma chikhalidwe chilibe chitauni, alisa ndi chikhalidwe chake, alisa ndi zimene amakonda.
Malonje, pa nthawi ya 6 koloko kufikira 7 koloko madzulo. Lowiruka ndi Stella Longwe. Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa.
Après tant d'années, quand je l'ai revu, mon cœur a fait boum boum. Je me suis posé un tas de questions qui m'ont mené à la conclusion que dans le fond je ne l'ai jamais oublié. Mes sentiments, j'aimerais bien les bafouer, mais y a des choses que je suis obligé d'avouer. Comme le fait que tu ne seras jamais à moi. Aujourd'hui tu es là mais demain tu seras dans un avion. Tu dis que tu m'aimes mais tu t'endors dans les bras d'un autre. Ainsi va la vie. Dis-moi à quel moment je devrais croire que t'es pas comme les autres. Baby tell me. Je te pose des questions dont j'ai les réponses, mais je veux voir si tu vas me mytho. Et tu n'as fait que me mentir. Pendant que les soirs tu dors dans sa maison, moi je suis dans une bataille entre le cœur et la raison. Pendant que les soirs tu dors dans sa maison, moi je suis dans une bataille entre le cœur et la raison. Et j'entends mon cœur crier oh. Est-ce que ça c'est le destin? Et j'entends la raison qui me dit laisse tomber, car c'est déjà la femme d'elle. J'entends la raison qui me dit laisse tomber, car c'est déjà la femme d'elle.
Entre nous c'était si spécial, et ça frôlait l'illégal. On était pour mais c'était pas assez pour nous. Il était déjà dans les parages. J'ai dû faire un choix entre mon cœur et ma raison. Je vois bien que tu m'en veux, mais je suis déjà dans sa maison. Bébé, dis-moi que tu m'aimes. Avec lui, ce n'est pas la même. J'ai troqué notre amour pour une traîne. On est passé de l'amour à la haine. Je te vois partout, partout. T'étais mon tout, 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 tout. Mon bébé, redis-moi que tu m'aimes. Dans tes yeux, je vois tellement de haine. Pendant que les soirs, je dors dans sa maison. Je suis dans une bataille entre le cœur et la raison.
Pendant que les soirs tu dors dans sa maison, moi je suis dans une bataille entre le cœur et la raison. j'entends mon cœur crier oh. Est-ce que ça c'est le destin? Et j'entends la raison qui me dit laisse tomber, car c'est déjà la femme d'elle. J'entends la raison qui me dit laisse tomber, car c'est déjà la femme d'elle. Baby Jouka, là je suis touché oh. Je ne peux pas zouker, baby Jouka, oh. Là je suis piqué, je ne peux pas zouker oh. Don't jumba lemba.
Hashtag on the move and connect with us.
Tell me, say you did not know that. They never told you that I like my tea without sugar. You see a fashionista dressed like my man. They play with my moolah. I don't play with my moolah. I don't play with my moolah. My baby is my healer. She's my healer. La la. I pray, hallelujah. Always see the sign for my liar, broken designer. And I'm really lying. I was 22, I realized I'm tired. Love of my life, baby my healer. Always see the sign for my liar, broken designer. And I'm really lying. I was 22, I realized I'm tired. Love of my life, baby my healer. Only family look on, but you keep pulling my legs. I did put you for my mind. On my body, I look up. And now everybody on my shit here, look up. Celebration, party, po. Only family look on, but you keep pulling my legs. I did put you for my mind. On my body, I look up. And now everybody on my shit here, look up. Celebration, party, po. Always see the sign for my liar, broken designer. And I'm really lying. I was 22, I realized I'm tired. Love of my life, baby my healer.
That's Say Vibes giving us vibes with Omalay. That one is titled My Healer. And before that, you heard Making by Kur and Raisin featuring Emma. It's 48 minutes past 11 o'clock Central African time. Hearing, do you think that we take it seriously? Our guest was saying, no, not really. We need to do more to make sure that we get those ear tests.
Yeah, and especially if you have people in your family who experience hearing loss or just hearing issues in particular, that might mean that you are susceptible to also inheriting that hearing loss. So let's take it more seriously. I don't know. Also, where do you go? Where do you go? I've never been to an audiologist. I wonder if there are enough of them even in our surrounding areas. So I'm going to look up audiologists in my area, see if I can find one. I've never actually, because if you go to like the local center, like a local shopping center, maybe there's a place to do your groceries. There's also always an optometrist somewhere there, somewhere you can get an eye test and get your glasses, but never for audiologists. So
all right, get your ears checked. That's the sum of that. Yeah. And then we're going to move on right now. We're about to get out of here. Lulu Gabu is going to just join us in a few minutes' time to let us know what we can expect on her show.
Darubini ya Afrika na I am Henry Shakif.
Kiongozi wa chama kikuu cha upinzani nchini Tanzania Tundu Lissu anayekabiliwa na kesi ya uhaini anasema hajala chakula licha ya kesi inayomkabili awali kuahirishwa. Pengine haya malalamiko yana mashiko ya namna yoyote?
Kama yana mashiko ama hayana ni jambo tofauti, kwa sababu yeye muda uliotolewa mchana ni kwa ajili ya kwenda kula. Nakumbuka kwamba Lissu ni mahabusu, sio mfungwa. Japokuwa sijajua taratibu za magereza zinakuaje wanapokuwa na wafungwa na mahabusu, lakini mahabusu wanapelekwa chakula na ndugu zao kutoka nje.
Na kama tunavyofahamu kesi hii ikiwa inaendelea, imeelezwa kwamba itakuwa inaendelea kusikilizwa mfululizo ili kuweza kuendelea na kuweza kuimaliza kwa haraka. Yeye mwenyewe ndio ambaye anajitetea Tundu Lissu. Pengine wana namna ya wao kutaka kuleta hukumu ya haraka, au haya ni maelezo ya awali?
Hapana, ni kesi inaendelea na wanashikiliwa mashahidi. Kwa hiyo lazima itapelekwa haraka, kwa sababu pia limekuwa ni ombi la mshtakiwa mwenyewe anayejitetea Tundu Lissu.
Darubini ya Afrika kila Jumatatu hadi Ijumaa kuanzia saa 11 kamili hadi saa 12 kamili jioni majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
#on the move and connect with us.
Lulu joins us right now. We're going to find out what we can expect on the Africa update. Lulu, hello.
Hello. It's Happy Hump Day. Is it a happy day? You know?
Yes, it's always a happy day.
Yeah, it is always a happy day. And with South Africans mourning the death of the opposition party leader Mosiuoa Legoda.
No, it's not a happy day.
And I always thought he brought
a bit of energy
into
the
Parliament. And a bit of grit, in the sense that once he started, he wouldn't hold back. He would just lash out.
Yeah.
And whoever was on the receiving end, no matter how much they tried to come back, it would be difficult, So it was very interesting.
And you know what? He was one of those definers when it comes to opposition politics in South Africa, because, before the EFF, he was there, and they formed their little cabal there outside of the ANC. So it was kind of the starting point of real, I think, let's call it black opposition politics.
And black breakaways from the African National Congress. Yeah. And then also, we're hoping to speak to the Deputy Minister of Defence and just unpack a few, Bantu Olumisa, General Bantu Olumisa, and just unpack, and find out from him who Lekota was and their relationship and all of that. And also, we're going to be focusing on healthcare workers for Palestine and South Africa. They have strongly condemned recent attacks on civilian sites and health facilities in Iran. They're always casualties of war.
Man, I just saw a mass grave for those children that were struck by a bomb.
The 83 that was struck on Saturday morning.
That is so terrible.
It is, and it's just, and with children now, because they're also exposed to the news, to what's happening in the media, whether they pick it up in social media. Children are asking, what is this war about?
Sure, no one can answer.
No one can really give them a straight answer.
Really.
And once a child holds on to something, and they keep asking these questions, and they'll keep asking them until eventually you will have to give them something.
Yeah, someone must just tell them like it's an ego struggle.
Yeah. And how do you explain ego struggle? Because remember, it becomes a ripple effect with the question.
Why, mommy?
Yes.
True.
What is an ego struggle? And then also just a number of other stories making headlines across the African continent, with two media freedom organizations, Moxie Africa, formerly Media Monitoring Africa, and Campaign for Free Expression, intervening in a high court case challenging automatic publication bans on reporting sexual offence and extortion cases. We're going to be speaking to the Executive Director of Campaign for Free Expression, Nicole Fritz. And she'll unpack exactly what this is all about.
Is that the case around the rape issues and rape cases? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll be unpacking all of that today, and a lot more on Africa Update.
All right. Thank you so much, Lulu. We're looking forward to that one. I'm going to get out of here. Palesa is also going to join me in getting out of here. We'll leave you to it, and we'll say goodbye. Until next time, cheers, everyone. God bless. We leave you with this one from Malawi. It's titled Buera.
Have a great day, Africa. We'll be back tomorrow.
Ooh,
uza kwima ine chikato chako chosatsemwe ukandigwila ine soft skin garikanda wanchikuta ode shape nchimake iwe lipachala lilenji ngari bari vura nduzerisa natentunda wadilumikiza ndichauta baby tisayuze nkunda ife nimvula ya chimwemwe ndisambitse ine ndine wansanje ndisabise ine chilungamo kuwawa usandinamize mamuna wako ndine baby bwela tifine baby bwela tifine ife baby bwela tifine ife baby come on dance with me baby come on dance with me ulingaridzira nzakuchengetela ngati njira nzakulondolela ndiwe nkhunda pakati pakhwangwala eksanavulaza iwonachiza mabala adzakuuza zofoka zanga koma usawamvele poti baby kongo ilibe maso iwe ndimvula ya chimwemwe ndisambitse ine baby ndine wansanje ndisabise ine chilungamo kuwawa usandinamize mamuna wako ndine baby bwela tivine baby bwela tivine ife baby bwela tivine ife baby come on dance with me baby come on dance with me baby bwela tivine ife baby bwela tivine ife baby come on dance with me baby come on dance with me
Blitz sounds.
The Morning Switch Weekend with the Shy Guy.
I Show Speed, often called Speed, who is a popular American YouTuber and live streamer known for his high-energy personality, loud reactions, and unpredictable humor. He visited Ethiopia, and he was shocked what he found out, actually, when he got to Ethiopia. He got to find out that, they don't use the Gregorian calendar. That is, we are in 2026 right now. And he got to find out they are in 2018.
2018.
Now you trolling me.
It's 2026.
No.
It ain't 2026. Wait, hold on. Wait, we in the past? Ronaldo is still in Real Madrid. Everything is in the past here.
Oh man, how shocked the Speed was. He went back in time.
Saturday and Sunday mornings belong to the Morning Switch. 3 to 6 a.m. Central African Time. Download the SABC app and take Channel Africa with you everywhere you go.
It is midday, and this is Africa Update, coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa on Channel Africa from an African perspective. I'm Lulu Gabu. A lot coming up in the next hour, but first, let's go to the news.
SABC News. The African perspective.
Thank you, Lulu, and greetings to our listeners.
South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has expressed profound sadness at the passing of liberation struggle activist Mosiuoa Legota. A close ally of the former President Thabo Mbeki, he served as South Africa's defense minister from 1999 to 2008. Legota quit in protest at Mbeki's ousting and was voted off the African National Congress Party's National Executive Committee after repeating criticism of Mbeki's successor, Jacob Zuma. He co-founded the Congress of the People Party in 2008. Presidential spokesperson